welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Jess Perkins, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Jess. So good to be here. Obviously, Dave is still missing.
we continue our half-hearted search to find him, and we wish him well wherever he is.
Oh, we
in
wish
the world.
him all the best.
All the best. Dave, if you're listening, get in touch, little buddy.
Yeah.
Okay?
If you want to.
If you want to.
Hey, no pressure.
And also remember to get me a magnet from wherever you are.
That'd be fantastic.
That's the rule. But Matt, we are not alone, thank God, because that would end so badly.
Dave left his two tiny shoes here, and we've got, because they're tiny in size, but they're large in spirit.
That's right.
So we've got two large, spirited, but small, hooved guests today.
It narrows down who we can get, really, doesn't it? Yeah.
There was, in the end, only two that fit the bill.
That's right.
And they are Joel Duscher and Paige from the Sanspants Radio Network. Welcome.
Oh, it's lovely to be in this here shoe. I feel like Cinderella.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Collectively, we could be known as Dave too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or New Dave, we will also answer to.
New Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might just collectively refer to both of you as New Dave.
Yeah, that's
throughout
fine.
And we'll
the
respond.
episode.
Yeah.
In unison.
Absolutely.
Nothing creepy about that. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Look, I mean, you're return guests. You guys know how this show works, but I'll explain how it does anyway.
Fantastic. For new listeners.
For new listeners who maybe are like, who are this Matt and Jess? I wish they'd shut up. More Cass than Duscher.
Yeah.
Who's Dave? Should we be worried?
No. No is the no. Everything's fine.
Well, you love him, so you've let him go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If he comes back, he was yours.
We're hoping that he'll come back. Because
Well, yeah, hope's strong.
yeah, I mean, we'd be fine if he came
Yeah.
back. We'd be all right
I'm
with
not
that.
against the idea.
Yeah, I'm not against him
You'd
coming
be
back.
medium on his return.
It has been fun, though, to meet new people.
It's been fun to meet new people.
Speaking of new people, two returning guests.
Yeah, exactly. We've had all strangers come on to replace him. That's not true. We've gone for great friends and colleagues. Unlike Dave, bad friend, bad colleague. He's fucked off for 6 weeks.
What a dog.
Here we are trying to do everything.
We didn't realise how much he did.
He does so much.
We are panicking non-stop. Please, Dave, come
I'm
back.
so
please.
fucking tired, Dave. Dave.
Dave. We're trying to play cool, but we need you, Dave.
Dave, we need your tiny tush.
New Dave's trying their best, but
We can fit the shoes, but not the tush molds.
Tush. Nobody can fit that tush. Anyway, how this show works is one of the three of us. Dave's the third one, usually. We go away, we research a topic, usually suggested by a listener. We come back, we report to the other two, and they sit quietly and listen respectfully, and we don't go on any silly riffs. And I'm excited to have 4 of us on the podcast today, a rare treat.
Oh.
So I might shut up a little bit as well,
Yeah.
and just let you guys enjoy.
Yeah, that was my plan too.
Okay.
I thought
you.
you were more like, yeah, Jess.
No.
Reel it
Jess.
back.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
pipe
no,
down.
no, no. If
no.
anything, less Matt, more Jess. I
Yeah.
reckon.
Okay. All right.
I really don't want the three of you to shut up at all. Please, all get involved.
We'll
We'll
try to
riff
get-
you to death.
Yeah.
Good luck getting this story out.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how I want it to be. So normally we ask a question to get on topic. You three kind of know what the topic is already because it's a sequel to the last time you were here. But I'm going to ask another question just because there's still points up for grabs.
Oh, yeah. You
As
want
far
those
as we
points.
know, there is someone still keeping score on a Reddit thread somewhere or something.
Yep.
So
we just get an email update every now and then saying,
Yes.
hey, here's
that's
the
nice.
here's the
right.
scores. Yeah.
That's what I assumed Reddit was. An email update every
buddy.
now and then.
Oh, buddy.
Are you gaslighting me right
I'm
now?
not gaslighting you. He doesn't know what gaslighting is. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. So the question is,
Our names are buzzers.
just whoever starts talking. I guess.
Jess's name is my buzzer.
Question
My
is,
buzzer is Dave.
okay.
My buzz is also Jess.
Question is, New York City is known as the Big Apple. What are 3 of the common nicknames for Paris? These are the 3 that topped all the lists. I found all
City
these
of
listicles.
Love.
Yes, that's one.
J.
Jess.
Paris.
No, you're out. All right.
Damn it.
Cass,
City of Lights.
yes.
Oh.
City of Light. Yep, I'll pay that.
La Baguette Ronde.
Is that one?
I think she was clearing her throat. Do you want to have a go?
Yeah, City of Love, City of Lights.
What else is there for
They're
Paris?
all in English, these three as well.
Okay. Is it another
There are-
city?
It's not a city of. I'm going to throw it open to Duscher with a clue. It's also the nickname of one of Melbourne's famous shopping centres.
Ah, the fashion capital.
The fashion capital, that's right.
Oh, that's good.
I never would have got that.
Can you
that
believe
was- I was
Chadson ripped it off?
Yeah.
I thought that was Milan.
Yeah, I always think of Milan as the
Milan,
fashion
Yeah,
capital.
Milan is where it's happening.
Yeah.
I'll never let go of the fact that Chadston gave themselves that title.
So good.
That's like their tagline.
What do you
Yeah.
call yourself? You can pick. What are you calling yourself?
Fashion capital, I think.
See, I call myself the city of love.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. That's
yeah,
nice,
it's
actually.
a vibe I'm radiating
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
I'll
That
be a
leaves
fashion
you-
lowercase.
Oh,
I don't have the time.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I'm so busy.
That's good.
The
Okay.
fashion casual.
Oh, that's better.
That's so much better. Damn, I wish I was
Unfortunately,
clever
you've-
like Matt.
You've locked in lowercase.
Yeah, and the fashion lowercase. Oh well.
So on episode 348, when Jess was away, we had Duscher and Cass come in and hear about the 1907 Peking to Paris motor race. This week we're doing the sequel about the 1908 New York to Paris motor race. Duscher sort of alluded to it. I don't know how much I knew about it. And I think you knew a little bit about it, and you mentioned at the end of that episode.
Yeah, so I actually said this to you off mic, but I'll repeat it to the audience.
It's important that you give context.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we
So
have
out-
heard this before.
BTS.
yeah, this is
Just say they know that we knew.
Yeah, we knew.
So
This
you
bonus
knew,
tent.
and now the listeners know, and now they're also getting a peek behind the curtain that we did start talking before we hit record.
This is something
And
they teach
after.
you in radio, but obviously not at Sanspants. You don't have to let people know that you spoke about it off air.
Nah,
first.
definitely not.
Yeah,
It's a waste of time and words.
Yeah.
But what you should
You
do
just
if
use-
someone does do
you
that.
use that information to your advantage. So if somebody was just like, oh yeah, I've just come from Milan, the fashion capital, on air, you'd be like, and where have you come from?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I've come from, oh, amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
You know,
more efficient.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
Duscher doesn't
Makes
know
for
that. That's
better
fine.
radio and entertainment.
You got to make sure you're not saying things that don't need to be said.
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
at Sanspants, they just simply teach us to zig when the people are expecting you to zag. So therefore, it's
Yeah.
constantly causing conflict,
Oh,
Yeah,
which is
perfect.
you threw to me because you knew I'd already answered this. I alluded that you. It was
Yeah.
great podcasting.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is that I told everyone about that, and
Yeah.
we're still talking about it now.
That's right.
That's true. We're on topic, and that's rewarding for every listener. So back to your question, Matt. As I did answer before,
Giving me no chance to edit that last minute of bullshit out.
I would say that I probably, out of 10, know this story between a 1 and a 1.5.
Okay.
So
Ooh.
I just knew that it happened, and that I think my knowledge of it ranged from reading that a race happened and me
Yep.
thinking that's a long distance and seems like a bad idea. Did they have cars in 1908? Yeah, probably. Wow, I don't know history, and then moved on.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I like that reading about a car race and being like, wait, did cars exist? Probably.
Yeah,
that's an
seeing
easy
as they're
thing.
racing them.
It's an easy thing to Google, but I won't.
Yeah.
So this is the year after the Peking to Paris.
Yes, it's the following year.
They were like, great idea, round 2.
Yeah, let's do that again.
So this was suggested by Travis Alexander from Gulfport in Mississippi in the United States, Kendrick Dube from Hanover in Germany, Alana Antunes from Brampton, I'm not sure where, and Karen Breheimer from Portland.
I'd just like to personally say thank you to every single one of those people.
Yes. I mean, I'm always surprised by how great our listeners' names
say,
are.
Yeah.
But
another
Kendrick Dube.
Oh,
my
that
God.
is so
That's
good.
really good stuff.
Yeah. Holy frickin' hell.
Someone's got clever parents.
Yeah.
Yes. So you might have noticed that both of these races finished in Paris.
Yeah, City of Love, City of Lights, fashion capital.
That's right.
It's where you want to end a race, then you can find love, see some lights, and get a new fit.
Yeah. And this is because France was really at the center of the world's automaking in the early 1900s. You think of France, you think of cars.
Big time.
That's why it should be called the fashion capital. That's what I would have done.
Yeah,
that
that's what
would
I
make
would've
way
said.
more sense.
If they're the fashion capital, why not start there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to get a good car from Gay Paris?
Wait, Grand Prix is a French term, isn't it?
Yeah.
the Grand Prix.
Whoa. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess I'd never actually put two and two together.
Yeah, I didn't either. You think of Germany as cars and America.
Australia, Ford v Holden.
Oh.
Bathurst.
Mount Panorama.
Whoa.
Rocky, King of the Mountain. Dick Johnson. Any chance to bring him up?
All of this came up in the last episode,
Yeah, great.
which I've just been listening to try and catch up.
Fantastic.
Is it good to live the episode
It's
now?
fun.
Yeah.
Well, Dick Johnson definitely had Casco. That's two penises.
Yeah,
that was
double
fun.
penis.
Yeah.
All
Double
that was
dong.
going through my head. And then I think
Well,
I knew I said it before.
I think
I'm like,
I've said this.
If people haven't heard it, yeah, definitely listen to 348 first.
You'll
As
hear-
Jess has just done.
Yeah. And you get to hear what just happened then again,
Yeah.
but in the past, it'll all make sense.
It'll be so fun.
In France, the idea of city-to-city races was very popular. Julie M. Fenster has written a great book about the event called Race of the Century, the heroic true story of the 1908 New York to Paris auto race.
So they just completely discounted the one before. They're like,
Yeah, because I mean, this one is a longer, bolder race, but I think the 1907 Peking to Paris was a better romp. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
higher rump factor.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's also good. So, yeah, Race of the Century, huge call. Calling it heroic is also good because it's like these drivers are heroes for volunteering to do this thing they didn't have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That benefits them.
Yeah. Heroes.
Yeah, and really it benefited the car industry. And I think a lot of people now go, cars being dominant around the world maybe isn't the best thing, but
I mean,
Yeah,
what do
bring
you
back
want to
the
do? Go
horse-
back to horse and cart?
Yeah.
kind of.
Original
Actually, that'd
horsepower.
be sick. Yeah.
Have
Whoa.
you seen Brendan Fraser's horse? It's freckly. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
beast.
His name is Pechas, which is Spanish for freckles.
Oh, it's so cute.
What a frickin' steed that is.
Man, I hope someone describes me as a freaking steed one day.
Anyway, according to Fenster, in these early 1900s city-to-city races in France, competitors drove at a frantic pace from one point to another, from Paris to the city of Bordeaux, for example, in some of the most sizzling race action ever seen.
That is a great sentence.
Yeah.
I will also say Bordeaux, great word.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime
yeah.
something is like a dark red, I describe it as a Bordeaux, and it amplifies my conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes me a better person to talk to.
Yeah.
Takes it
Just,
up a notch.
Like,
God, she's
audibly,
interesting.
aesthetically, if
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I love your shoes, like, could I grab one in the Bordeaux, please? Oh,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah, love that.
But don't. Please keep talking.
Yeah.
It's better than like, oh, the wine coloured one. Does it come in Bordeaux?
Bordeaux. Oh, that's good.
Fenster continues, French roads were exceptionally good due to the country's mild weather and engineering tradition, so drivers lived the dream of going as fast as they wanted or could over varied terrain.
City of Roads. They don't call it for that for no reason.
That's right.
Auto racers were hailed as pioneers for going 30 or even 40 miles per hour.
Jesus Christ.
But 19th century cows, dogs, and pedestrians proved less successful in facing traffic at those speeds. Race fans enthusiastically judged city-to-city races according to the average miles per hour of the winners. Everyone else, however, judged each race by how many bystanders had been killed along the way.
What?
Yeah, that's how we should judge everything. What's
So-
the body count?
Is it golf rules?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it
Is it
depends.
basketball rules?
Yeah, imagine if it was basketball rules. The
Two
most-
points for every day.
Yeah.
3 if it was a long range
Yeah.
From downtown.
from the perimeter.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a grim factor, I reckon.
Yeah, it is tricky to figure out if it would be golf or basketball rules, though, because look, if you distance yourself from the loss of human life, if lots of people
An easy
die,
task.
it is, I would say, again, not personally, but that does add an excitement factor. Like, 10 people died, 100 people died. My God, what a race!
So it's bowling rules.
There's a pedestrian on either side of the road. They're like, how are we going to get
How are we gonna kill both of them?
spare here?
You got to drift around.
Yeah, that's drifting.
Only the most skilled drivers
Yeah.
can.
Okay. Anyway, unsurprisingly, France outlawed these city-to-city races within its borders, which is why racetrack racing came into vogue. Just in case the mics are picking up those power tools.
I reckon they might be at this point.
Yeah, it was a bit more subtle before.
We're in the new Stupid Old Studios, and finishing touches are happening. We were told it would be a quiet day in here today, which I guess it's all relative.
Well, it is. Like the power tools are not in this room.
No.
They're not even on this floor of the building. They're upstairs immediately above us.
In terms of being in an active construction zone, yeah, this is pretty quiet.
Yeah, this isn't bad.
I listen to podcasts all the time where the hosts talk about noises that you can't hear. So I'm always like, will they pick it up? But yeah, that is
that
pretty
one
loud.
I think maybe. Because I'm sitting next to you, and when that goes, sometimes I can't quite hear you.
And the couch we're sitting on is moving from the vibration.
That bit I'm okay with.
We started on the other side of the room.
Having our own race.
God, we miss Dave.
Yeah, we've found that we get a bit looser without Dave. He's some sort of anchor point.
Dave
holding us
would
down.
never stand for this.
We miss you, Dave. Come back, please.
Dave knows where to end silly.
Yeah.
And we don't always know
The
where to end
episodes have
silly.
got longer since he's gone away.
Yeah, you've invited two terrible guests if you want to tone down the silly.
There is something at work known as the Duscher goodbye, which, do you know about this?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Oh, what a way to find
Imagine,
out.
yeah, on another podcast.
Which is, where so Joel will go to say goodbye to someone, and then you might come into the room 15 minutes later, is still there.
Yeah,
He might be out the door with his bag. I found out what the Duscher goodbye was because I was told that I did it.
Oh, okay.
You're in trouble. You need a Dave.
We need a Dave. No,
That little tush won't save you now. We got 2 feet in the shoes.
in that exact instance, I'm the anti-Duscher in that. I'm a hooroo out the door.
Yeah.
I respect that greatly.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do
understand.
Cass and I once got stuck saying goodbye to each other for nearly 2 hours, and it was just us two.
Yeah, we got stuck in a loop. I think maybe once during COVID, we ended a Zoom work call, and we got stuck on the Zoom for 2 more
Yeah.
hours.
That's amazing.
It was pretty good. It's nice to catch
like
up.
Yeah, you had a
reconnect.
nice chat by the sounds of it.
Yeah, you just stand in a doorway or on the Zoom call,
Yeah.
holding your bag,
Yeah.
holding the keys in your hand.
Hovering over the end call button.
Yeah, the whole time.
Anyway, yeah.
Get a bit of RSI. Anyway, Matt, I'll be a Dave. Do go on.
Oh, thank you so much. So unsurprisingly, France has outlawed these races. The body counts were getting too high. They're like, let's try this new idea, these tracks, which, as we learnt in the last episode, the first one was in Melbourne.
Whoa.
Remember, it was in
Yeah.
Mordialloc or something, I think.
Yeah.
These racetrack races came into vogue, and this is what the Parisian newspaper Le Matin was railing against when it set up and sponsored the Peking to Paris race in 1907. In 1908, Le Matin was ready to sponsor an even bigger race. That's when they paired up with the New York Times to sponsor this one.
It's funny that looking at the 1907 race, they're like, fuck. Great call, everyone. Let's do it again, but bigger.
This is Jurassic Park would happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the future is, it's exciting, I'll tell you that.
But I guess if previous to 1907, everyone was just dying all the time every time they raced a car, in 1907, everything went wrong and there was no deaths. Maybe, I guess, it was a step up. Like, I didn't even realize that. Like, if you're measuring races on how many people die, and then in 1907 you go cross-continent in a car, and no one dies, you're like, this must be the future of racing.
Yeah, that is actually
if you're
really
playing
good.
golf rules,
Yeah.
that's like an impossible round. What do you score? 0?
Whoa!
Didn't take a single shot.
Lame.
It just kept going in the hole. The wind blew it from the first tee into the first hole, into the second tee, and I
crazy.
kept running after it.
Wish I had my camera on me.
Come
It was
back,
crazy.
I know we're doing great, but I'd like to be involved.
I'd love a swing.
Greg Norman's
Lots of
running
a
it
go.
down. Wait, does this still count for me? So Le Matin, the Parisian newspaper, they heard the idea from one of the guys who ends up in the race, who I'll talk about soon. And they're like, yeah, great idea. This is outrageous. Let's do it. And then after hearing about it a bit, the New York Times like, we want to be involved in this as well. Even though even back then it was meant to be like a bit more of a serious newspaper, and they normally wouldn't create their own news like this, which is basically what's going on. They're like, we're going to make this event and then report on it every day for months, which was a bit tacky and tabloidy, but they
like
sunk
they
to
pulled
that
it
level
off.
for this. Yeah.
We're still talking about it now.
Yeah.
My God.
According to Karen Abbott, who I'll mention, she wrote an article for the Smithsonian, which a lot of the people who suggested it said this is a good article on it. So I quote her quite a bit. And she wrote, the proposed route would take the drivers across the United States, including through areas with very few paved roads, and then head north through Canada, then through Alaska. She and a lot of the other resources said turn left at Alaska, and I think the book she wrote that in the book. Fenster wrote that in the book, and everyone's just quoted it. I'm like, you mean go west? It's
Left.
So, so weird to turn left. What if they're coming in from a different angle or
turn
something?
left.
Turn left.
But I've seen Alaska. I guess it depends on where you're standing. But to me, left is the ocean.
Yes. Oh well, yeah. That was probably the most audacious part of this idea of the race. So yeah, they turn left at Alaska.
Okay, if you see Alaska, turn left. If you hit the ocean, you've gone too far.
No, but you know, there's at the smallest part, you'll get to the Bering Strait, the smallest gap between Alaska and Russia. And the race's organisers started the race in winter so that the cars could drive over the frozen water connecting North America to Russia.
Yeah. That, I think, was the 0.5 of the 1.5
Right.
I knew that driving on ice was involved.
Right.
Which seems...
Driving on ice means something different now.
A lot of truck drivers do that.
Ice truckers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ice road
of course.
truckers. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you mean.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can watch it on 7 Mate.
Yeah, I love Seven Mate. It's my
7
favourite
different
channel.
shows about it.
It's my favourite channel. I love Seven Mate. It's made just for me and the boys.
Mate.
What is it? What's the girl channel?
Well, there's
Gem.
Gem. Lots of renovation shows on Gem.
there's 10
Fucking
Peach.
love it. 10 Peach. Yeah, there
You're
we go.
thinking of 9 Life.
Am I?
Which is the Reno show channel, which I love.
I
That's my
love
favourite
9 Live.
show.
You know, my favourite show is House Hunters, preferably international.
Well, that's handy for you
depressing
because
when
that's
it's local.
on at all times.
Yeah,
Every day.
I know.
So amazingly, the initial idea for this race was to travel from New York to Paris without the use of a boat. Firstly, if you think of New York to Paris, you go, oh, you mean heading east. That's the sort of the quickest route, but that's all ocean. But it's
Yeah.
like, no, we're going the long way, the land way. Oh, there's still water to cross. No, we're going to wait till it freezes.
Oof.
Briefly and theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I think ocean, I don't think it's frozen unless I'm thinking top of the globe or bottom of the globe, the
Yeah.
ice caps.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
I'm thinking frozen bit of ocean, I'm like, but not all the way down. Like, that's
Yeah,
just a
yeah, yeah.
little shell in the Cadbury cream egg of the globe.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
so easy to crack open.
That's the creme brulee.
It is.
You know, it might feel firm, but just a little tap of a spoon will crack it.
Simply a tap will shatter it to
These
reveal
are cars.
the gooey deliciousness
Oh
below.
so good.
So anyway, we've crossed the Bering Strait.
Oh, they did it.
No, this is.
Oh, we've
that
crossed
race hasn't
Hypothetically,
begun yet.
We've covered it.
Oh, imagine. Oh, yeah, they're pretty much on the home straight now.
So they crossed it. That was fine.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. No one died. Well, boring.
In fact, no names are even listed. It just went well.
It just went really well, and everyone had a
not-
good time.
Not really noteworthy in many ways. Not sure why we're talking about it. Everyone does it now.
They're driving across ice. Ice that is only partially ice because it obviously, like, they're either on icebergs which can float or it's frozen connecting. But cars are hot. Cars are hot and they have hot coming out the back of them.
Yeah.
Which means ice is going to make the car stop working, or the cars are going to make the ice stop working.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're natural enemies, the hot and the cold.
aren't they? God, isn't that beautiful?
Cass, you're getting bogged down in something. They get across it. We're
Sorry,
not sure
I
how, but
missed that.
somehow they're going to get across it. And Abbott continues. From there, the course led through Siberia, so it gets easier.
Oh, yeah.
Through areas that no one had ever travelled by car.
Yeah. I mean, how hard can it be?
Where we're going, we won't need no roads, or whatever that quote is.
Great Scott.
Before heading into the final stretch, where it gets a little easier. Moscow, St. Petersburg, Berlin, and Paris.
Yeah.
The further they go, the better the roads get.
Yeah.
Overall, 22,000 miles.
Jesus Christ.
35,000 Ks.
Oof.
A trek in an age when the horse was considered more reliable than the horseless carriage, which is what cars were known as at the time.
A horseless carriage.
Yeah.
So they were saying a horse would be better
Yeah.
to cross the ocean.
At the average person.
Horses can swim.
They can swim. Cars can't swim.
I think.
Yeah,
Horses can swim.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
I'm pretty sure they
Their
do
legs
like
are- It's like little sticks under a potato. How would you do
that's
that?
a good point.
I thought that
sure I've
horses
seen 'em in a-
swam
Am I
kind
thinking-
of like a dog swims.
Yeah.
Which
I'm
sounds
thinking I've seen horses in water, but it's probably them crossing rivers where they can walk.
Yeah, maybe it's more
they're
like
quite
a
tall.
hippo swims, which is just walk on the bottom of the water.
Yeah.
But hippos have little chunky legs. Like I feel like a hippo's leg would push a fair amount of water back, whereas a horse I feel would just slash through the water
yeah.
and the
We're
water would
thinking of
have.
seahorses.
Yeah.
No, that's where we went wrong.
Yeah.
Cool.
Damn it.
I'm going to just
Not
quickly
again.
Google can horses swim, but probably what I'm thinking of is them walking through rivers that are not as tall as them.
Yeah.
I thought waters were scared of horse. You know what
Yeah,
Waters
yeah,
are scared of
you-
horse.
Yeah.
No,
You
I don't
can-
think they are.
Take a watered horse, but you can't make it not
Okay,
fear
first
it.
thing-
Cats. I
First
reckon
thing
cats
is,
are scared of water, right?
Can horses swim? The next thing is, can horses eat bananas? So obviously I'll be looking that up next.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
The answer is yes, horses can indeed swim. In fact, they're actually very competent swimmers due to their huge lungs, which enable them to naturally float. Ah, there you go.
That's sick.
I was focusing on the wrong bit. I was thinking of the kickers, not the floaters.
And they, just by instinct, when they hit sort of deep water where they their hands, their hooves aren't on the bottom of a river. They instinctively, like they do like a paddle, which isn't too dissimilar to a trotting action.
Oh.
So they paddle like dogs. You're
Yeah.
right.
Gorgeous.
Now, can they eat bananas?
Yes.
Let's have a look. Can horses eat bananas?
Let's find out.
Almost any fruits and many vegetables are safe treats for healthy horses. Apples
What
and
if my
carrots are
horse is
traditional
sick?
favourites. You can safely offer your horse raisins, grapes, bananas, strawberries, cantaloupe, or other melons. So yeah, so that's
Big
good to know.
melon fans.
Do you I think when an animal gets bigger, more food is allowed. I was looking up, there was a possum I was trying to become friends with.
Sure.
It kept trying to jump into my room, but I didn't want that, but I wanted it to still like me.
Yeah.
It kept slamming into my bedroom window trying to get in, which
Okay,
was not
that's,
good.
No, it's scary.
But trying to look up what I could feed them, and I found like something from Hillsville Sanctuary, and they were like, okay, 1 almond every 3 days. They're too small. They can't handle a lot of extra food.
Wow.
If you get too small, then they can eat anything again. Rats, ants.
Oh, it's because they can only have one little nibble. They're like, oh, I couldn't possibly have any more.
Yeah,
That's what the rats
okay.
in my house say.
So you're saying bigger the animal, not only larger variety of food they can eat, but also quantity.
Quantity of treat more similar to that of a human.
Yeah.
We're learning so much today.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the horseless carriages.
Oh, that's right.
That's why we got into horses.
So, the New York to Paris race was supposed to be and is still largely considered the greatest race of all time, even surpassing the prior year's Peking to Paris competition, in which the winner, Italian Prince Scipione Borghese, who enlisted donkeys and mules to pull his car and sipped oily water from its radiator to relieve his thirst. His reward, as discussed in episode 348, was a magnum of champagne. I can't help but feel that maybe, the distance definitely plays a huge part
Yeah.
in it. But I also think what plays a big part in it that an American's involved in this one.
Yeah.
And it starts in New York. And, the internet, everything's, all the stuff I'm reading from is American sources and stuff.
So
So,
it's
it's more relevant to them
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this is the more famous of the races. Because like I say, I think the Peking race, like babies were saved and all sorts of wild things happened. But
A man scammed his way into coming second.
Oh, the greatest. That is the
Goddard.
best thing I've ever heard. That man is. We need to study him.
Yeah.
yeah, well, you're going to hear about him again soon.
What?
Have you-
He's
What?
back! Oh my God, I'm excited.
Have you heard of like modern day stuff like on TikTok is getting big? They're talking about like being a siren and tapping into dark femininity, and they're like, I'm on a weird side of TikTok. They're like, women, take your power back. You can do this look, and then anyone will fall for you. And it's like I feel like it's the same thing of trying to pull a Goddard, but they're just reframing it.
I think it's just confidence.
Yeah, they're
That's
like
essentially what it is.
people being like, when Marilyn Monroe could do that thing where she could turn it on and people would notice her and she could turn it off. They're like, I can do that. I can teach you. Download my ebook. It's $30. They just want to be Goddard. Everyone wants to be Goddard.
Yeah.
Now the test, if that works or not, is did you buy the book?
Not
No.
yet.
But well, if you didn't buy the book,
How alluring were they?
Yeah.
They clearly didn't turn it on for the TikTok.
No.
which is either a big mistake or they're full of shit. Imagine they just, oh yeah, should I have turned it
should
on
I
for
turn
that
it on?
shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
Made
that's
myself
embarrassing, isn't it?
interesting. I mean, I did watch a lot of the TikToks, just being like, I just want to know a bit more about it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, did they get me?
Seems like they did.
To put the undertaking in perspective, just how ridiculous it was, a New York importer at the time named Carlton Mabley said, the cars will have to climb mountains several times to an altitude of over 10,000 feet and drop down the sides of mountain ranges on passes and roads that are well nigh impassable, even to the sure-footed beast of burden. The drivers will have to go through rivers, which in many cases will completely cover the wheels and flooring of the car. And the motor will have to do its work at a temperature of 100 degrees as well as at 50 below zero.
Oof.
I'm guessing
Wait.
that's in Fahrenheit. Otherwise, they would be dead, I guess.
Yeah, but if that's in Fahrenheit, that's going very low, right?
I think it's a weird system. Let me just check what that means.
because 50 below Fahrenheit, I think is
Their
Like-
zero was an our zero.
yeah.
I had to learn that. Sorry.
Yeah,
no, I wasn't trying to be rude.
negative 50 is negative 45, so it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super cold. And 100...
That's chilly. Bring a jacket, guys.
137, so not that hot, but very hot to be in a car with a primitive car.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that horses. Okay, I agree now. Could you ride a horse across a river? If horses can
If
swim
they're
and they
swimming,
float,
can you be on them?
Yeah. I mean, that's how
Probably.
people cross rivers. On horses.
Do you have any bananas at the moment?
Hold one in front of the horse.
Yeah, I got to dangle it in front of the horse, and it'll be
Yeah,
like
people
"Ooh."
people ride horses across rivers.
You can
I
lead
want to do
a
that.
horse to water with a banana, but can you make it swim across with you on its back, as the old adage
Yeah.
goes?
Yeah.
We never got to the bottom of that.
No.
No.
While this journey today would be incredibly tough, back then it was seen as suicidal. American Congressman Jefferson M. Levy said, "Man can overcome nature to a certain point. Beyond that, he is helpless. The difficulties of the proposed race are so great that I doubt if human beings can surmount them." He's like, I don't think this is even possible. A lot of people going, this is ridiculous. They opened up for people to apply and it got attention, but everyone was like, oh, that's a funny idea.
Yeah, wow.
Obviously, we won't do it. And some car companies were like, they said, yeah, we're going to do it. Then the papers would write them up, and then they'd be like, we're obviously not going to do it. They just get the free publicity.
Yeah.
And that kept happening over and over.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Could you imagine if we announced a big race and then we had like a very high up politician release like some sort of eloquent statement to the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been very big.
Do we have an eloquent politician at the moment?
Not at the moment, not ATM, but yeah.
But, you know, there's
Surely.
another election in a few years.
Yeah, we can dream.
Only a handful of people had been able to even cross the United States in a car at that point, and none of them had done so in winter, which is when this race
Of course.
was occurring, because they needed that ice. This was the time they picked the hardest time to do this race,
Yeah.
just so they could.
The ocean would be frozen.
The ocean would be frozen, and they could drive across it.
This is just like. Did anyone actually think the race was going to happen at this point?
I reckon probably from Paris, you know, where they're making all these calls.
Yeah.
The committees over there, they probably don't fully understand it. They just did this race the year before that went through Siberia.
Yeah.
Actually, it was even months before, because all this talk was happening in 1907 still. So they were pretty quick onto it. They're like, that was great. Let's go again.
Yeah.
That was unreal.
Not everyone was like that. Borghese, the guy who won the last race, was like, fuck that. I'm never doing anything like that again. Fuck that. And fuck you for asking.
I would deter you from having a crack at this.
If it's too good for a prince, it's too good for you.
Yeah. So, and apparently Italy wanted another racer, so they're going around going, well, last year we won with this prince. So they're going around asking all these noblemen and stuff, and they're like, nah.
No.
Yeah, actually.
No way.
Probably going to just stick around and eat these Italian feasts.
Yeah, I think I'm busy
and you can
that year.
go get fucked,
Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah.
How about,
Let me just check with my secretary. Yeah, nah, she says I can't, and fuck you. How about that?
Yeah, not my words. Actually,
Sorry.
so rude.
Yeah, a bit rude. I'll have a word.
Yeah.
Performance
Bit of an attitude.
Yeah.
Slip her a
No,
hundo.
good.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I love you.
So the race was to kick off on a snowy winter's morning, as it turned out, on February the 2nd, 1908, from Times Square in New York City.
Does every car this time have a roof? Because that was something that didn't happen last time.
No.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That
smart.
would have been crazy pulling up at the first thing and just having snow falling onto your lap.
Yeah.
Being like, ooh,
Yeah.
should we have? No, not in
Some of
Right.
them, none of them had hard roofs anyway. Some of them had like canvas sort of covers. But
Well, canvas would have stopped snow, but then when the snow melted, that would not have stopped the water.
Yeah. that'd
and
suck.
also they hadn't figured out glass technology for windshields. It was seen as dangerous to have a windshield because glass didn't, like, you know, now it'll shatter in a safe way, then it would shatter into shards. So they're like, it's not a good idea to have a glass. So there were no windshields.
Yeah.
Just have whatever hit you.
Yeah. That's why racing goggles and stuff were a thing, I guess.
That makes sense.
But one of the cars did have a leather windshield. Which only went up to chest height. So it shielded the wind, but it didn't block their vision, at least.
So they just would have been, I would imagine they'd be getting blasted almost harder with the top bit of wind, right? Because it's bouncing off the little slope.
It was like just
you're
sending
right.
straight into their face. Yeah, it was angled right into their face. There was a gap from either side. It was
making like a
funneling
weird
it directly
whistling sound.
into their eyes.
It's kind of flapping a bit, like.
I never knew this. This might be obvious. It might be funnish, but do you know where Times Square got its name?
I don't.
I don't know.
I didn't realize either. This is from Fenster's book. Times Square wasn't yet a theatre district like it is now. It
Wasn't billboards?
It wasn't all billboards and stuff. At the time, it was all hotels, and there was only one skyscraper there, the New York Times building, and that's where it got its name.
Oh.
So the newspaper, that was where it was headquartered.
Ah,
So Times Square is short for New York Times.
there you go.
That
makes sense.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess,
a
doesn't
very
it? Yeah.
sensible answer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's like, why would we know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
But
like
still, is like such a famous
Good to
place.
know. Good
Yeah.
for trivia, because I retain everything we talk about on the podcast. So
you simply must.
that will serve me well in the future.
Yeah. You have the very normal experience of people who've listened to the show reference something you've said and you remember everything.
I remember everything. I'm
It's
like,
not
thank
confusing
you.
at all when people say, remember when you said this, and you think, are you gaslighting me?
Yeah. I'm like, are you gaslighting me? And then they say that's what gaslighting is. And I say, I don't know what gaslighting is.
Well, like a lot of these old-timey events, even though they're quite famous, every article you read has conflicting information.
Yeah, good
so,
stuff.
I'm picking and choosing a little bit.
You gotta.
There were, there's all these entrants coming and going. A lot of them never really being serious, apparently. But according to Jerry Garrett, writing for the Times,
That's a trustworthy name.
Jerry Garrett.
and he wrote an article for the New York Times.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
close to the
I have
source.
not done that, so...
No, and I wouldn't trust you
Yet.
as far as I could throw you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yet is also very important.
That's true. So according to him, 13 cars were entered, but only 6 arrived at the starting line. 7 were no-shows.
Ghosted.
Of the 6 cars, 3
so
were
there
from
could have been
France.
13,
Could have been 13,
but
yeah.
it was 6.
But it was 6.
That I'm happier with 6 than 13.
Yeah, half D.
Yeah. Just an even number.
Or a BD.
BD.
Yeah. HD or BD?
BD. What's the B?
Bakers?
BD is 13.
BD
Got
13.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
HD.
HD half
Sorry.
does.
Half does. Yep, I got it. HD, please.
So, of the 6 cars, 3 were from France. Makes sense. They made up half the race. They were the ones who liked the idea.
Yeah, they wanted to go home.
Yeah. And it's fun to have to catch a ship
Yeah.
to the starting line.
It It's fun to leave the finish line to go to the start to then immediately go back to the finish line.
Yeah.
In the slowest possible way.
Yeah.
One was from Germany, one from Italy, and one from the United States.
I reckon, though, maybe there is some logic to that because then when you finish the race, you're home.
That's true.
You don't have to then travel home and you're already exhausted. You know, you're already home. So you just like get an Uber back to your apartment
Yeah.
and go to bed.
Or you cross the finish line, just keep driving
Keep
and then
driving.
park and then get out and you're
Just
just
wave.
home.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. See ya.
Cheers. Maybe that's the point of holidays. Like we get so far away so that we've got a good journey home.
Oh, yeah. It's all about the journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably when this comes out, I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait for the flight home.
Yeah.
I'm just killing time.
Yeah,
You
look,
get there day one, you're like, oh, home in a week.
Yeah.
Couldn't come soon enough, am I right? Can't wait to relax.
The perfect length holiday is when you're a little bit looking forward to home at the end.
Yeah.
You're not dying to get home, but you're like, oh, there's a few things that I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to doing, like
Yeah.
Looking forward to my
lying
own bed.
in my bed.
Yeah. Fuck, I love my bed. Oh, it's
Having
so
the
good.
apparently it's very good for your brain to be bored. Like it's
Is it?
very good. I think that's why you have your good ideas in the shower because your brain can actually go and like go gooey and nice, and then it'll like tickle itself into having cool ideas.
Which is
that's where you're most
why-
creative.
The younger generation, I say this as someone older than a boomer, that's why the younger generations just are lazy.
yeah. We
They
love our
let the
TikTok too much.
shower-
They don't want to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
etc.
Etc.
It's because they don't get bored. They're always on their bloody phones.
Yeah.
You gotta
And
get
I'm
bored.
looking at three of them right now.
Text my TikToks. Let me do it, Matt.
Yeah, we're all famously Gen Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Gen
Yeah,
Z.
and I hate everyone older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's responsible to hate anyone older than you. I
Yeah.
can't be bored, which means I have no new ideas.
I saw a month or so back, I saw this great Twitter thread, which is what old people use as social media, where
I only know Be Real.
someone had collated all these newspaper articles going back a decade or more at a time with the quote, "No one wants to work anymore," going back into the 1800s. It's just been something that, the older generation has always said about the younger generation.
That's
Same
very
as
funny.
they're lazy and they don't respect their elders and all those things. They've just been, and it's so funny that we just keep repeating the same things.
Yeah.
You can
and you
also-
hear it when you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
And you go, "That's ridiculous." And then you get old and then you say it about the younger generation. Like, how do you not remember how annoying that was?
Yeah.
They do the same thing. You can also go back and search for articles of people talking about how media is getting too short. Like people saying people aren't reading books anymore. They're only reading articles in the journal. They're going to get stupid. And people aren't reading journal articles anymore. They're reading magazine articles and they're getting shorter too. And people are becoming stupid and our attention span's getting too short. And people are, we're on Twitter, and now they're gone at Vines and their TikToks and they're too short. No one's watching the video essays anymore. They're just watching the clickbait videos. We always say it. And
That's
I think
funny.
it's cool that we're becoming more efficient and we shed a lot of what we need. Will
Yeah.
it kill us? Absolutely. I think we're destined to die. But we'll do it so quick.
Yeah.
We'll do it efficiently.
Yeah.
And that's
Blast
important.
ourselves into the sun precisely.
Yeah.
It is
Perfect
true as
speed.
time goes on, our life expectancy has shortened, hasn't it?
Yeah, famously.
So it does make sense. They're right. It has definitely all that stuff.
But if we're becoming so much more efficient and our lives are getting so much longer,
Oh man, look at what we're
just
packing
gonna-
in. Look how
yeah.
many TikToks you could pack into a life.
So many.
maybe by the end of our lives we'll get bored and find the meaning of life. we'll finally get bored enough to relax and have a thought.
I love that we haven't got to the
Wow.
start of the race yet.
No!
So we've got 3 French cars, 1 German, 1 Italian, and 1 American.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Apparently, the British didn't have any interest in the race. They had a bunch of their own races over
Ooh,
there.
we've got cups of tea to drink. Thank you so much.
They
We're
had
too
some,
busy visiting the king.
Hello, King.
in one of the
Good day, peasants.
Okay, see you tomorrow. They do that every day.
Yeah, it's important.
It's cute though.
Good
Yeah.
morning, Big Ben.
Oh, you're like,
I
oh,
can't see Big Ben from the streets. Not from the streets of Paris.
actually,
I be
Big Ben
expected
is
to
the
live?
bell, not
Yeah.
the tower.
Yeah.
So, Cass, that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
Big Ben is the bell.
Yeah.
Big Ben is the bell of the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tower's actually called something else.
What's it called?
Look it up.
cares?
Big clock.
Big clock.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Mr.
Big Ben and Jammin.
Mr. Clock to you, please. But yeah, no, they were like, I like how you like English so posh. The French, though, you know, there's knockabout larrikins over in
Their
France.
famous battle is the French.
Yeah. And the Italian princes who rode some of these things. Oh, yeah.
We have no problem with any of them.
But yeah, apparently they, whatever, I think it was the Fenster book, she's like, and they had no real desire to drive from anywhere to France.
Sure, that makes sense.
So representing France was a de Dion, which you might recall from the last episode. There were two de Dions in the last one. A moto block and a Césaire Nudin.
One of the person's name was Motorblock.
One of the car's names.
Oh, okay.
Motoblock.
The German entrance was a Protos. The Italian was a Zust. I'm possibly not saying any of these right.
I reckon you've nailed all of them. You're
Yeah,
100% so far.
absolutely.
The
Sounds right.
American was a Thomas Flyer.
You got that
I'm not
one
sure
wrong,
about
though.
that one.
Yeah, it was American. The Thomas Flyer. Let's talk about the contestants. Firstly, a couple of names you'll remember from the Peking to Paris race were involved again. Do you recall Auguste Pons?
I do. I do.
In 1907, he drove the three-wheeler Contul that didn't make it out of the Gobi Desert.
That's
That's the
right.
one. Dropped him early.
He had this theory that lighter, lower-powered vehicles were the best
Yeah.
for these long-distance races.
But that meant he didn't have a lot of the stuff that he needed, right? He
That's
wasn't carrying
right.
much. And was he the one that was basically going to die along with the car and then was rescued by some
Yes,
locals?
yeah.
Lucky.
No
Yeah.
ponds in the desert.
And then, but obviously he learnt, light cars are not the way to go.
Heavy.
Or did he go,
There's mountains this time. Lighter cars up a mountain, desert, bad. Mountain, light car, three wheels. Let's go again.
he stuck with a light one-cylinder car, but he
One.
did add a fourth wheel.
Oh, huge.
Okay.
All right.
So
Imagine
he-
the egg on our face if he wins.
I know.
He
and we're like,
drove-
look at this fucking idiot.
1 gallon car, dickhead.
Oh, he thinks 4 wheels is that's gonna be the kicker that fixes him.
And then he just has a smooth run. And we're
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
Never mind.
okay.
So he drove the Césaire Nordin. It sounds like it was an upgrade, but only a slight upgrade. Garrett described the ride as tiny and ill-prepared.
Okay, ill-prepared doesn't
Okay.
fill me with a lot of hope
It's
for
given the game away a little bit. I'm gonna
old mate
I'm gonna be
Pons.
real.
That was fully Pons' MO, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm the ill-equipped guy. That's what I'm famous for.
I'm scrappy.
Why wouldn't you just be like, God, I'm so lucky those locals found me. Not going to be that silly again.
Yeah,
like,
the
why
guy
would
who
he-
won was like that.
Yeah. And this guy who nearly died is like, I'll have another crack.
Yeah, I'll
Do
go
you know
again.
what? If you were nearing death in the most improbable scenario you could have fathomed, and you just get, I don't know, like Deus Ex Machina it out of there.
He was like, yeah.
You're like,
God is on
well,
my
God's
side.
I'm God's
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah,
I
you're
can't
right.
die.
I'm invincible.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were already a believer, that would just confirm it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Also, what are the chances of it happening again, even if you do put yourself in exactly the same situation?
I
Yeah.
know you
You've got
clocked
4
it
wheels
once.
this time. It can't go wrong.
Yeah, you got a whole extra wheel.
Yeah.
That's 33% more wheel.
Yeah.
And many, many thousand miles more to travel.
That's why he's got an extra wheel.
That's what the
if
extra
the
wheel's
car
for.
hadn't have broken down, he would have made it.
Yeah.
So he
And
was pretty
probably
much
won,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just the car breaking down, which won't happen again.
No.
Because
What are the chances?
He certainly won't make any comical mistakes right off the bat.
Oh no.
Oh no, I left
Okay.
my keys at home.
Wait, I was meant to put petrol in this thing?
He's left the car at home.
He's walking for ages before he realizes.
He's like,
Just clicking a little key, being like, has anybody seen it?
I just had that feeling you've forgotten something. Oh, it's the car.
Wow, these other cars are really
He
fast.
took the boat all the way to the starting line and then was just patting around his pockets. The car's gone. The
car.
car's gone.
The car.
I drank the petrol. Hang on.
Oh, I've got my backpack.
So I was in the garage, all right. And I started walking out the door and see where I've gone
There
wrong.
it is.
All
There
right.
it is.
Can we pause the race for a bit?
Give me like 2 months. I'll be back.
So we have Pons. Then we have the great man Charles Goddard.
Yes.
He's back.
Yeah.
No way.
And
Fresh out of jail?
yes.
Yes.
I think I called him Dutch in the last episode which I confused with because his car was Dutch. But he was actually a Frenchman. So apologies to.
Ooh la la.
I didn't get to the end of it. He went to jail.
Yes. He got
Just for his crimes.
He got
Don't
pulled
worry,
out
it's
of his
fine.
car
Yeah,
pretty
he
much
was-
right towards the end of the race.
Incredible.
And
Then he broke out of jail and almost made it back into the car to be
to
dragged
finish
back.
second because
Yeah.
he got right to the end and wanted to finish the race himself, but he
was
couldn't, unfortunately.
an absolute mad dog.
Yeah.
A true badass.
Love this guy.
Yeah.
So he busted out of jail and went directly to the starting line.
Yeah, he was he was just a
can
con
see why
man,
you
a
would.
vagabond.
Yeah.
I've just listened to the part
Duscher
where
fell in love with him.
Oh yeah. So I was listening to it. I'm up to the part where they were stuck in the desert, and somebody said, "We'll go to the next town and send back some petrol."
Oh, yeah.
Petrol doesn't come for 2 days.
Yeah.
He walks off because his journalist is dying.
Yep.
He's like, "I've got to go get help." He comes back 2 hours later with an army of people. 2 hours it took him. Incredible.
Yeah.
And at that point in the last episode, Duscher was already very much in love with
Yeah,
him. So
Yeah, it happened
It
the
only got
moment
better.
that he sold all of his spare parts
Yes.
to. I can't remember what he used that money for.
Just to fund his journey to
oh
the
yeah,
start.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
He sold all
yeah.
the spare parts to get to the start of
So
the race.
he had a lot of luck. Will his luck continue in this race?
He just needs to do one more impressive thing, and he's my guy this race as well.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, the fact he got out of jail to do this race,
Yeah.
I'm already pretty won over.
So he got out of jail, but then he went to jail because he conned his way
Yep.
and he owed a lot of money.
Yep.
He fraudulently borrowed money. So he got out, but he paid those debts. Having some success in that race did his reputation as a car man a lot of good, and he got investors to back him, and his new company was called Motoblock.
Oh, as made famous by earlier in this episode.
That's cool.
I would have called them the Goddardmobiles, personally.
Yeah, nice.
God Squad.
God Squad.
We're part of the God Squad.
So he was again in debt to his investors,
Of course he is.
Yes!
but obviously his plan was to win this
perfect.
race.
Yeah.
I love Goddard and I love the skin of his teeth because that skin is held on
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard. So he just gets out of jail, becomes weirdly successful enough, and it's like, I'm on the cheese again. Like,
Yeah.
But he's always like, the next thing will pay for the last thing.
Yeah.
I admire that in other people because I give up so quickly. Like I would never even contemplate doing this race.
Yeah, the reward of this is just a brutally awful time. This whole
No
race for
fucking
all
way.
of them is horrendous.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
Oh,
I
so
don't
his-
go through it, but you can read that book and just hear in small details how every day
Was
is
hell.
Hell. Just non-stop over and
You
over.
could not pay me enough. You could be like, do this, and at the end, you get $1 billion. I'd be like, have fun, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll live my sad little life.
Well, at the end of
On-
this, you get a trophy and maybe $1,000 prize.
Absolutely not. No.
So I'm on the other side of the coin for Jess, where if you're just like, here's a really stupid idea, you can just do it. I'd be like, I'd probably get pretty good stories out of it. I reckon
Yeah,
I'll do
I
it.
know
And
for
that's
a
why I
fact.
have no stories. I'm a very boring person.
The other week, I know for a fact that Joel Duscher was made to do something because his friend said, nah, just imagine you're on Jackass.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
it
that's what works.
I'm in the right age bracket for that to be like, I'll be like, what would Johnny Knoxville do? He'd do it. I did it.
I think reverse psychology works on me. You have to tell me I couldn't possibly
Yeah.
do it, and then I'll have a crack. But the thing that's really putting me off with this race is that it's quite cold, and we're currently inside in a warehouse with a heater,
Yeah.
and I'm adequately dressed, and I'm uncomfortable. And I'm feeling sooky
That's
about
because
They didn't
Duscher's
have-
got no pants on.
it. Duscher's just putting the heater right on me. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about this race.
Well, you're
Okay.
thinking about the cold parts, but you're not thinking about how it's also going to be very warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a
How-
tan.
How people are going to later call you heroic.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm coming around
I
to
would
it.
enter this race, and even if I broke down in the first hour, I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm a hero for doing it, though.
Yeah.
A national
You
treasure,
didn't need
perhaps.
any encouraging, though.
Yeah, you were in.
I'm in. Yeah, the moment they're like, hey, remember that fucked up race from last year? I'm like, yeah, we're doing it again. I'm in. Like,
Hell
well,
yeah.
oh, okay.
So yeah, his whole plan was, I'll win the race, then I'll make a lot of money, then, I'll be able to pay all these.
It is a pretty
people.
solid plan because he didn't win the race last time, but still got a lot of attention.
Yes.
So I guess like if you're thinking like that, he's like, well, worked last time and I didn't even win. Imagine if I win.
Yeah.
It's
Which
gonna
I'm
be,
gonna.
I would put my money on him.
So he travelled with a mechanic named Arthur Hugh, and he's like, who else would be important? A guy with a video camera. So he's like, we need to document this.
And video cameras of the time as well, very compact.
Yes, that's right.
Very compact, easy to travel with. I mean, just like today, you could essentially just take an iPhone.
Yeah.
So that's a good call, I think. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that would have been film reel, which is also famously very flammable.
Okay, great.
So that
Feels like a good idea.
in 37 degrees Celsius, that would almost be hot enough for the film to combust.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure they'll be running their AC.
Yeah, that-
Oh, of
Should be
course.
fine.
So, how much of the storage in the car was dedicated to film?
All of it.
Okay.
They had to remove part of the engine. No. No, yeah, I mean, I think that they had a decent, like, all these cars were packed to the rafters with gear and supplies and stuff. Big, heavy, well, not all of them were big and heavy. One of them in particular wasn't. The Thomas was apparently a little bit lighter as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the cameraman's name, not that I bring him up again, but let's give him his moment.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
Yeah.
he lived
Yeah.
so that we could tell this tale.
That's right.
Maurice Olivier.
Great name.
But I
Thanks,
just wanted to
Maurice.
say his name, to be honest.
Maurice.
Prior to the race, a boy asked Goddard if he'd make it to Paris. So when he was in New York driving past, a boy goes,
What a brutal heckle.
Will you make it to Paris, sir? And Goddard quickly replied, sure will. Or just sure.
Sure.
I added the will.
Sure isn't very...
well, he's French. He would have been like, oui.
yeah.
No, he said sure. And then he turned to his teammates and in French said, what did the kids just say? and they said, he asked if we make it to Paris. It turned out the only English word he knew was sure. Sure.
He's a real
Maybe that's
yes
why
man.
he's in all the races.
Do you want to race again?
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. You might also remember the car maker De Dion from their two entrants in the last
Yes.
race.
Yep.
We didn't talk about who De Dion was, the man behind the brand. It was Albert De Dion. He was a pioneer of the automobile industry in France. He entered the game at a time when automobile enthusiasts were regarded as juvenile. It's a childish pursuit.
Oh,
Yeah.
silly little cowboy doing their engineering. You think you're going to make a machine?
We got a horse, okay?
Okay, it can go through a river.
Yeah, you go build a car while I make these two horses fuck.
Then I've got another horse.
Okay? Can your car do that?
Can cars fuck?
Wait, can cars fuck?
Can cars do
Because
that?
I'm all of a sudden a little
That'll
interested.
change my mind actually quite a lot.
According to Fenster, when De Dion, a French count, announced his intention to build automobiles in France in the 1880s, his family committed him to a rest home. They're like, you've lost it. You're too old to be making decisions with our family money. But he had the last laugh.
Can I do that to you?
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd
you
love
like
to be in
that?
a rest home. That sounds like the best place.
Those little
A home
communities.
for rest.
With little
All your
table
friends.
tennis.
My
Yeah.
favorite
around.
thing to do is rest.
Big rec room.
Yeah.
man.
Movie night every night.
Every night.
Every night, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just got a TV in your room, just watch a
And
movie.
you're gonna pay for it?
Well,
That's
you're
what
gonna
they
pay
do
for
on
it.
You're just gonna
Patreon's
send me
for.
there and then. How am I going to earn money to stay there?
I don't. That's not my problem, mate.
So you're offering me a lift?
Yes, I'll help you move. That's
Okay.
kind. That's real friendship.
Okay.
Moving is actually a big deal, Matt. That's actually very kind of Jess.
Yeah.
When was the
Okay.
last time someone moved house? It sucks.
Oh, it's the worst.
I did it during one of the big lockdowns last,
Yeah.
and it was nice to have something to do.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I also moved during a lockdown. We kept saying that we were going to make our prison our palace, and so we just spent the whole time doing up the place.
Oh, lovely.
It was really pretty.
Well,
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
nice.
What
Yeah,
have you
well-
done with it since?
Oh, I moved. I moved again during the next lockdown.
Yeah, you know how to party.
You're addicted.
I am. I'm getting to the stage where it's like
Get
usually
itchy
when a
feet.
lockdown would happen, and I'm like, I gotta move.
It's time to go.
I keep looking up different furniture so I can at least pretend I've moved.
Yeah.
Smart. Clever.
So his family sent him to a home. But he had the last laugh as he had not only outlived his doubting relatives a couple of decades later, but he inherited his father's title of Marquis along the way. I said that like I didn't know if that... Is that how you say it?
I don't know if it is. I don't
Or is it
know.
Marcus?
I think it's Marquis.
It is
I think
Marquis.
it's
Okay,
Marquis.
great. In 1907, Marquis de Dion was a highly respected businessman, presiding as a founding father over French automaking and racing.
How old is he?
I think he was in his 50s or something.
So they put him in his 30s. Or like...
Yeah, I think he wasn't that old. Maybe he was in his 60s, maybe he was in his 40s. I don't know.
Oh my.
That's wild.
That's also embarrassing for the family to put a member of your family into a rest home and then die before they die.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the rest home kept them safe?
I'm cringing.
Yeah, it's very cringe.
Those
Cringing
corpses
themselves to
are-
death.
Yeah, cringing.
His nephew, Borsia Saint-Chaffre.
I think you're just making sounds.
I am, certainly.
But that's French, isn't it? That's all words, actually, in any language.
Just making sounds.
Just a collection of sounds.
Hang on. Sorry. How did he get out of the... Did he have to be committed to the rest home? How?
That's as... I mean, that's as...
How did he get out?
When the people that put you in a
Fenster
rest
said it.
home die, you're free.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a genie's curse.
But I guess he inherited the title and he had more power all of a sudden. He's like, I'm
I can
leaving
actually
now.
pay myself to be sane again. They're like, oh, sorry, you've got enough money to be normal.
Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah,
fine.
go for it.
Normal, Cass. What kind of language are you using here?
Their language.
Okay.
I'm pretending I am the people at the rest home.
Oh, well, then it should be normal.
Yeah, normal means something very different in French.
What does it mean?
It means normal.
So, yeah, his nephew, this Saint Chaffre, according to Fenster, was compact and dapper, a lively Frenchman, and a very witty one.
Compact and dapper. That's Dave Warnocky.
Yeah.
And
Dave, where are you?
So,
He's at a rest home somewhere. And when we all die, he
yeah,
may
there
be
you
free
go.
again.
this compact and dapper man is also the one who came up with the idea for the race. And he was given the title of Commissioner General of the race.
For Commissioner General Dave.
This wasn't the first race he'd helped organise either. According to Abbott, Saint Chaffre once organised a motorboat race from Marseille to Algiers that resulted in every single boat sinking in the Mediterranean.
What?
Every single boat.
So he has good form for good races.
That's attainment.
He's got a good rep.
So this is the guy's like, yeah, we'll just drive across the ocean.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that'll
Drive across the
happen?
strait.
Clearly, boats don't work because they
Yeah.
all sunk. So we'll just drive.
I know the mistake we made. We used boats. This race will be... That's right. It specified no boats. I didn't put that together, but he's like, I'll never make that mistake again.
People associate me with sinking boats, so I'm trying to shed that. No boats this race.
Ah, me, I'm a wheels guy.
Always been a landlubber.
His
But
teammate...
he can't resist the sweet call of the ocean. He's got to get back.
Drive across it
The
this time.
sirens. His teammate was Hans Hendrik Hansen.
Hans Hansen. Hans Hedrick Hansen.
Hans
Hendrik
Hen?
Hansen, Triple H.
Whoa.
He was... I
His
feel,
initials are essentially white noise.
Trying to call him.
I think he might be your new favourite, maybe.
Oh, that's a big call.
I don't
Yeah.
talk about him that much, but
Every time he pops up, Triple H does something incredible.
yeah, he's just sort of doing badass stuff.
Yeah.
And he's described by Abbott as a swashbuckling Norwegian who claimed to have sailed a Viking ship solo to the North Pole, which I feel like, I wonder if he even came up in your report about that other...
Was the report on people that have-
King Viking from a month or so back. You know, remember a few people falsely claimed they'd gone to the
Yeah.
North Pole before someone actually did. He might have been one of them. Anyway,
Did they think they did? Was it just that they went to the wrong spot, or did they
I
lie?
imagine so. As far as I know, he seems like he was actually some sort of a badass.
Badass.
But yeah, so it's hard to know if he was just maybe talking a bit of shit
Yeah.
or if he just thought he got there.
Well, this is the coldest I've ever been. I know where I am.
And listeners, that's also something you can also do if you're looking to spice up a conversation. You can just claim you've been somewhere you haven't been. The person you're talking to is not going to know.
Yeah.
They're not going to
Prove
care.
Hey, Cass, you
Lie.
remember last year when I went to Brazil?
I do. It was
See?
wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. I went to Brazil.
He's a Brazil boy now.
It's a fun thing you can just do.
Brazil boy.
What was the best thing you ate in Brazil?
Brazil nuts.
Yeah.
fantastic.
See, he wouldn't be able to answer that question if he wasn't there.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah. How would
Great
you know?
weather.
Great weather in Brazil.
Yeah, great
Okay,
weather
there
in
you go.
Brazil.
Well, I've never been, so I wouldn't know. So I can't
definitely
dispute
have,
that.
yeah.
How did you shave your pubes when you're over there?
Well, they actually have a very particular type of waxing over there.
Oh, okay. Didn't fall for my trap.
Yeah.
Waxing. So, Triple H declared that he and his companions would reach Paris or, quote, our bodies will be found inside the car.
And has everybody in the car agreed to that? Or?
He says that as he's locking the door.
And everyone's like, oh, I'm happy to be airlifted out,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
in an emergency. I'm
No,
Is
like,
that
no,
what
no,
he
no.
said about the boats? We'll
no,
reach you
this-
up the side. Or...
This wasn't St. Chaffray. This was
whoops, sorry.
Hans Hendrik Hansen.
Yeah, Triple H.
I got
the
confused between the
swashbuckler.
two greatest men I've ever heard of
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
back. I was like, surely it can only be one man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if you can foreshadow anything here, knowing that two alpha males are sharing a car. I imagine they'll work well together. HHH, okay, Triple H, lived in Siberia and spoke English, Russian, Chinese, German, French, and Spanish.
Chinese isn't a language.
Okay, well, cop that Fenster. Let's say
Yeah.
Mandarin.
Yeah,
Do you
it
know,
could-
was that true in 1908?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, or Triple H lied again.
Oh my God.
oh
Yeah.
my God. He's like,
Just
I
like,
speak
yeah, I can speak
Chinese.
Chinese. Who's checking?
Fenster was like, so he could speak pretty much every language along the whole route. He would be able to talk to locals.
He's
the
quite
whole way.
handy.
Yeah.
He's a handy person to have.
Quite handsy.
And they weren't even going through Spain,
Very
just in
handy.
case there were
Yeah,
any
just in
Spanish
case it
people
was a
out of the way.
detour.
Just tourists.
yeah, well, that one you can just throw in because,
Yeah.
who's
Well,
going to check?
Maybe there was sort of like a burrito stall along the
Yeah,
way.
well, I mean, last race,
Burrito stall.
last race, there was a team that was so far ahead that they went to a party for a week and then came back. So maybe he was thinking the same thing. If I'm far enough ahead, I might
I'll
finally
pop
get to
to
check out
Spain.
to
Yeah,
Spain.
grab an
yeah.
empanada, get back on the road.
Yeah.
What's that famous Spanish dish where they're just all mixed in together?
Paella?
Paella.
Yum,
Yeah.
yum.
Paella!
It's Little John's favorite meal.
Oh, that is a cute bit of fun. Which is what I love to have the most.
He does love a cute bit of fun.
In a connection to the previous episode, our swashbuckling Norwegian was hired by the Russian government to find Salomon Andrei, who was attempting to reach the North Pole by balloon in 1897. That was episode 211. You won't remember it, Jess, but I won't talk about that in case people haven't heard that episode. But yeah, he was...
I haven't heard that episode. Was I there?
I think we did it live somewhere.
Okay.
Hansen packed a sail for the car, which he thought would help propel them across the Arctic tundra.
That's actually... Look, it is stupid,
Were you about-
but I also think, in some ways, it's maybe a bit clever.
Okay, I want to share what I was going to say in reaction to that. That sounds like an idea we'd have.
Because if you put the car in neutral, because fuel is of the essence,
It is the car's essence, yes.
I reckon... look, it's not the cleverest idea, but...
I mean,
I'm
blowy,
on board.
blowy in the tundra?
Unfortunately, the team implodes before they get to try it out.
It's cool that a race...
I really wish I really wish that the Dion made it so we would know.
It's also great to know that in this race of incredible stamina that one team doesn't make it because they have a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it sounds like it could be potentially, and I don't know this, one hell of a fight.
Yeah, sort of. I don't want to talk it up to now. It feels like now you're expecting too much.
Okay.
Murder. I'm expecting murder.
It's a quarrel.
Yeah.
You're telling me there's a fight with Triple H involved?
Yes.
Yeah, well, my expectations are there.
Yeah.
Triple H and the guy who sank all the boats in a race. Look, I'm giving him too much credit there. We still haven't started this race, and we're over an hour into the episode.
Oh my God.
Emilio
We're having fun.
Sittori was the driver for the Italian Zust, which is spelt Z-U with an umlaut S-T.
Smiley.
What do you
face.
reckon? That makes it. Does that
Yeah,
make it you and?
it's a U. It's the U is a smiley face.
Yeah.
I am a smiley face. You is a smiley face.
Zust.
Zust. That is a happy car brand
I'd say
name.
Zust.
Zust.
Zut, zut.
Zut, zut. Traveling with Satori was a 21-year-old poet who was the son of an important guy who ran a newspaper, I think, and so he went along as the journalist.
Right.
But he was also a poet.
That rules that we've got a filmmaker and a poet in this race as well.
Next
Like,
has got, I need somebody to paint portraits of me as we go.
Yeah, the whole thing is
Let's
taken up by
document
an
it.
easel.
With oil on canvas.
the entire race is just told through tasteful nudes.
Yeah. But it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Very tasteful, very beautiful.
The still life is just the end of the race. Like, let's see what you did. It's just lines across the thing. Like what you'd see out of a car going past.
Their mechanic was German-born, a man named Henry Hager, and he couldn't speak Italian. He was on the
Mamma
Italian
mia.
team.
Good.
So the long journey to the start line, they spent a lot of it in silence, and apparently all of them were like, "Oh my God, are we going to make it?" They were all dreading it.
Just because you can't chat. Well, yeah. I mean, being the one there who doesn't speak the language of the other two, you'd be like, this is going to suck.
But he's also the one who does speak the language of the car. He's the mechanic.
Oh, that's
So he can't be
nice.
going to them like, "Yeah, I reckon we'll make it." They're going, "Oh, I hope we make it."
Language of the car. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's stunning.
Prussian army officer Hans Copen was the German entrant driving the Protos. This guy really wanted to do it. He was the only one who had to put up his own money because the race was, they're like, it's going to cost at least 50 grand of just supplies and everything you have to put into it. And everyone else had sponsors and the car manufacturers were backing him. He's like looking for a car manufacturer just to give him a car. He wanted the money as well.
Yeah.
He ended up getting the Protos, but the guy was like, "I'll give you," and then he found a newspaper who would pay him a bit to write articles on his journey.
So he's got to drive and write articles.
But he's got
got a typewriter on his lap.
he's got to write the articles and he's got to front up the rest of the costs.
Oof.
He reportedly regarded the race as an opportunity to raise his rank from lieutenant to captain. He's an army man, but he'd been an army man in peacetime. So he spent a lot of his time just reading about past failures and trying to learn from history and also, just kind of getting ready. But he felt like, I want to go out and do something.
His battlefield was
a higher
road.
rank. Yeah, that's right. Copen didn't previously have an...
Also, 1908... You don't need to wait long, buddy.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
What a shame that he didn't know. Germany? You're going to be pretty involved in a couple of little conflicts coming up.
I think you might get your captain title if you live.
It's great that he saw the car race. It's like, oh, okay, the race 2. He didn't know War 2 was coming.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't wait for the
War
sequels,
2.
buddy.
He didn't... Yeah, War 1 was coming, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty behind.
Well, actually, you were
well-
in the future. You were the
Yeah, I
opposite.
mean, you're still right. War
Yeah,
2
War 2
is
was coming.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there had been war before.
Oh, yeah. We've warred for centuries.
It was quite weird that he was just landed in this little bit of peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
So he up until that point had no interest in cars. In fact, he didn't know how to drive one and was much happier riding a horse.
That's war animal, yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to be the driver. He was going along to be the
Passenger?
captain. He was the one leading the charge from the back seat.
He's in charge of snacks. He has
So-
curated a playlist.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got the aux cord.
Yeah, he's downloaded a few podcasts that everyone will enjoy.
Yeah, he's got the maps and which
Yep.
doesn't come up, but there aren't many. So where they get maps whenever they can, but most of the
Yeah. I feel like earlier in the episode when you said they're driving through a part of the world that no one had ever driven before, I was thinking, yeah, map's going to be pretty tricky there.
Yeah.
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 certainly no GPS.
So he's like a vibe smith
Yeah.
of the land.
And his motivation was sort of career based, but also patriotic. According to Fenster, the frustration in Germany was that no German car had participated in the arduous Peking to Paris race, which had captured the attention of Europe over the summer of 1907. The whole idea for the New York to Paris race grew out of the excitement left over by the Peking race. The Italians had been in it, the French, and even the Dutch, with thanks to Goddard, who just went and talked a Dutchman into giving him a car. But not the Germans. And they're like, we're a big proud car country. Even they made great cars. They made, some of the earliest viable cars. The car industry was still super young at the time.
Yeah.
It's only a couple of decades old, and most people didn't really drive. Still, horses were still the main mode of transport. Apparently, Germans built a lot of cars, but they didn't drive a lot in Germany. They exported a lot of them. But anyway, they were still like, it's weird that we didn't have a car in that race. We need a car in this next race, and that's what Copen, what motivated him. He's like, we're going to be representing this next one. I'm the man to do it. Protos wasn't a big company, the ones who he ended up getting the car from. And they saw it as an opportunity to grow their business, which is what all the car manufacturers, they were like, what a great chance to... It's a gamble, though. If you fail, it's like a high-profile failure. But if you succeed, it's a high-profile success.
Yeah, I reckon your car probably just needs to get, I would say, minimum 50%, because then, like, as a buyer of a car, you look at that, you're like, yeah, but, like, I'm not going to be driving it over a frozen ocean.
I'm going A to B.
Yeah, and that's good. Like, that's gone to A to D at minimum so far. We're good.
Sounds like that's enough for me.
Yeah.
This was quite influential even in the idea of cars going from A to B. At this stage, for the most part...
They hadn't invented that yet.
Cars went from A to A. Genuinely, they, like... towns in America had car parks, which were people who had cars.
We still have those.
Which are normally wealthy people. They'd go to a park and just drive around in circles.
It was like a hobby. It wasn't
a hobby. It wasn't a mode of
transport.
Big flex, yeah.
Yeah, right. Much like, people have boats now just to go out and sail around, and then you put them back in the dock, get in your car and drive home.
Yeah, going from A to A.
Yeah.
So Protos was a small company. They didn't have an inventory of cars in a big warehouse to choose from. They had to build each car to order. And that's what they had to do for our man Copen.
HK.
Yes, HK.
Yeah.
Copen. He needed them to make a car for him specifically. Only problem is it normally took them like 5 weeks if everything went to plan to build one of their cars.
That's not bad, is
That's
it?
a pretty fast turnaround.
He had about 16 days.
Okay.
All right. So quicker turnaround.
Yeah, do it in under half the time.
Yeah.
How long would it take to make a car now? I know they churn them out a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But it's not like a day, is it?
This is before, only just before Henry Ford had really made started making the Model T and the, what do you call it? The
Production
line.
Yeah.
So they were about to make it a lot quicker, but yeah.
Wonder if this was influential. They're like, fuck, it used to take 5 weeks. This guy's about to do it in 16 days, hopefully.
The only thing is it took around 600 men to do it. And even then, they were working right up to the last minute.
So back in the day, so when you wanted a car in old times of old, would they have to custom make literally every single piece of the car?
Yeah, I guess.
Or could
so.
you? Are there parts of the car that you could just buy from Bunnings? Or times of old equivalent, like
Ye old Bunnings.
Yeah, you're like, well, I'm using the tools available to me, so half of the engine you can buy it. Yeah, ye old Bunnings.
No, this is in Germany. It would have been Das Bunnings.
Yes, can you buy them
Das
at Das
Bunnings.
What
Bunnings?
is Das mean?
I don't know, but it was a good joke.
From the Bunnings.
Das Boot means the boot.
I Googled how long does it take to build a car. And it says 18 to 35 hours.
Right.
But it contains about 30,000 parts.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Cars seem hard.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's big Lego. Maybe it's fun to build a car. Maybe we should all have a go.
Mechanics.
Cassie said maybe we should have a go. Like it's building Lego, like it could be kind of fun. And Matt just goes, mechanics.
Isn't that the Lego where you build cars? Is it not?
I thought your reaction was,
Let's be mechanics.
yeah, let's be mechanics. That's a mechanic's job. Isn't it fun that's how the mechanics live?
Mechanics.
Yeah.
No,
and I
that's
got
because
all
of
of that
that.
from
Is
the
it
excited
Lego
mechanics.
Meccano?
Meccano. That would have been awesome.
Mechanics. He is very tired.
Yeah.
Mechanics.
Mechanics, yes.
Mechanics.
Yes, Matt, we will be mechanics.
Yes.
Exciting, isn't
You're just
it?
walking me to the home now.
Come on, bud.
Yeah, you'll have a great rest.
Yeah,
It
I
has the
don't
worst
know.
car in it.
So HK's effort to join the race looked doomed as the car was under the pump just to get completed. He also hadn't applied for leave from his job in the army, which normally would take weeks as well. So he was putting that in at the last minute. And apparently everyone wanted him. They were all like, yeah, we support you to do this. But unfortunately, the process is the process, and this is going to take quite a while.
Oh, ditch.
Ditching the army is always fine.
Yeah, they let you.
I just think I'm coming down with something. I'm probably going to need a couple of months off.
1908 Spanish flu.
What kind of rules was it up to the stage where they cared? When was that thing in the European country where people started being like, I'm feeling too gay to come to work because they kept listing gayness as an illness, so people kept calling into work gay.
Sorry, I'm too gay to work.
Too gay. And then they were like, fine, okay, it's not a sickness anymore. You're allowed to be gay. The best protest. Ditching rules.
That's good.
Love a rule ditch. And last minute he gets a letter back saying, or a telegram or whatever saying, your leave hasn't been approved. And he's like, oh, shit. And calls were made and they figured it out. And then Kaiser Wilhelm II personally granted him permission. Saw it as a way. The Kaiser was like, I think it would be good for us to have a car in this race. I think it would help our relationship with America.
Yeah, well, hopefully nothing else comes along and fucks that up.
Yeah, it should be good.
Should stay chill for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did a couple episodes about World War One, and like the Kaiser, like he didn't really want like they wanted to be buds with America and stuff. Anyway, so, spoiler alert, it doesn't end up that way. Then we had the American, and this guy only entered the race right last minute, even though America was the starting line. Yeah, they didn't have a team until right at the end. Yeah. All these teams are going, we're going to do it, and then like, nah, just joking. Thanks for that article though. And
we've sold heaps of cars thanks to that article, but we're going to pull out now, I reckon.
I will not be doing that.
Yeah,
Mr. Thomas, the man behind the Thomas Flyer, was a real conservative sort of guy. He was from Buffalo, New York, and apparently, they were like, took a conservative route with everything. They're like, I just don't know if this makes sense for us to do this.
Yeah.
But when the Europeans and their cars arrived in town, apparently, and all the fanfare he saw around it, they were basically celebrities getting around New York. That sort of convinced him. He's like, nah, this feels like this would be good for business. And he got Monty Roberts to drive. He was
Monty. Oh, I like that.
He was 25, but already relatively well known as a race car driver.
25 is old.
That's middle aged in 1908.
Funnily enough, I was seen as quite young as a race car driver at the time.
Yeah, well, that means that he can actually drive a car that's not his.
Yeah, that's true.
Insurance doesn't go up.
Just made it. He was a race car driver, and he was one of the first to physically train, do weights and do aerobics to train for racing. He also worked part-time delivering Thomas motor cars.
Okay.
As well.
And how do you deliver them?
Drive them.
Exactly.
Presumably.
How do you get back?
Yeah, bus.
Apparently after delivering one car, the customer asked him to teach his son how to drive it. That son was Franklin Roosevelt, who went on to become president of the United States of America.
Wow.
No big deal. He also entered a 24-hour race at one point. Cars were meant to have teams of 2 alternating drivers.
And he said, fuck that, I'll do it myself, right?
No, he's...
Shit.
We
need 3.
He said, I'm looking forward to my partner arriving, but they never did, so he had to drive the whole race himself, which he did, and he won, and he set a new record, and he got a lot of new fans, and this is what helped build some of his fame.
Was that the... I was trying to think of a 24-hour race. Le Mans?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't Le Mans, but it's like Le Mans.
Fuck. I thought
Le Mans
I got
is
that
a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
We learned that on this show. Remember when Dave told us about that?
Was I there?
Oh, no, you weren't there.
I was there.
Cass was there. I knew it was one of you.
And I know it from that Christian Bale movie. Was that Le Mans?
Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari. Monty's teammate was George Schuster, a 35-year-old mechanic from the Thomas Motor Company.
Over the hill.
He only got the call up the night before the race.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to... we need you for about 6 months. Yep, for dropping everything. And he's like, great. He had to jump on a train that night.
Yeah.
To get to New York.
Imagine having no commitments for the next 6 months that you could do that.
Or-
I'd be like, I'm working tomorrow.
Well, yeah, but
Can't.
alternatively, it's 6 months, so your life's going to be wildly different anyway, so maybe fuck
Ditch?
it. Just
Yeah,
ditch.
ditch.
He was a married
I'm
man.
learning a lot from you guys.
Yes, if something
was a
sucks,
married
hit
man.
the bricks. Who cares?
You can quit
You'll
anything.
get a good story
Yeah.
out of it.
Well, I mean, this was his boss was asking him to do this job. So he was a
Oh.
mechanic
Yeah, okay.
for the Thomas Motor
Okay, so
Company.
that's
So
the
it
opposite.
wasn't ditching, he
So
was
hey
sucking a
Jess,
boot.
you've got work tomorrow. Unfortunately, shifts ends in 6 months from
Yeah, that's
then.
right.
Yeah.
That's different. I'd
Yeah.
be like, of course, boss.
Yeah, thank you. No
I'm
worries,
sorry
boss.
that you had to call me.
Get this, Jess. This has got to be close to a record for this show. According to Abbott, Schuster was one of 21 children.
No.
That is way too many.
And honestly, too much fucking. Too
Yeah.
much fucking.
Yeah,
on
reel
the
it
parents'
in.
part.
Yeah.
I guess the only question I have is, do they know what's causing
Oh,
it?
great question.
That is too many children.
Yeah, that's a bit money. What's the age gap between young and old?
Yeah, do you have that info handy?
Yeah.
Make it up. Make it
21
up.
years.
Wow, that's
No.
every year.
18 years. Well, I imagine there were
You
triplets
gotta
and
have,
doublets
yeah,
and
you gotta
whatever.
have some doubles in there, surely.
Well, yeah, if it's 21... if it's 18 years in 21, unless that was a joke.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay,
I mean, it
never
might
mind,
not
I've
have been,
caught up.
Could have been true.
But 21
But 9 months at a time, they could have just been...
Just never leave the hospital.
Yeah.
I watched a video of a woman who was going through, like, she had like 10 kids or something. And then she was going through all of her kids, maybe fewer than 10 kids, showing all of them, showing all their ages and like how old they all were. And they were all really close in age. And she's like, wow, I just realized I've spent like nearly 90% of the decade pregnant. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
What would that do to your brain?
Yeah. My grandma had 9 children. Just I've done the maths before about how many years grandma spent pregnant. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Just and it
20s
changes your
30s
body
gone.
so much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
21
makes your
children.
tummy real big. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, when some people get pregnant, it permanently changes the shape and size of your feet.
Your
So
feet-
your shoes don't even fit for the rest of your life anymore.
Yeah.
And what about the other person involved? Their balls would have been so sore.
Yeah. We don't think
so
about
much
the dads
coming.
enough.
My God.
Yeah, I don't think your balls should hurt. I think maybe.
Well, it depends how much.
Oh no! If
I
you're
would
coming
see.
once every 9 months?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too many.
Douche, are you going to take that woman splaining your balls?
This is too much. I got to go.
So Schuster's dad's name was great, Caspar, and he was a German immigrant. George was a handyman. He was an expert radiator solderer, a chassis inspector, a motor tuner, and a test driver. So he was a real...
You can do everything.
An odds and
Chassis
ends fellow.
inspector is funny. Just be like, something's wrong with the car, and he's like, yes, there is.
Yeah, the chassis is fine. It's got to be something else.
Something's wrong with this chassis. Actually, oh, can you fix it?
No.
That is not the work of an inspector.
Did I say I'm a chassis repairman? No.
Apparently, Monty liked Schuster as a co-pilot. Obviously, he was a very handy guy, but also he liked that he wasn't too high a profile to steal attention away from himself. That's according to Abbott, anyway. Along with Schuster and Monty was T. Walter Williams, a reporter for the Times. Monty Roberts' Thomas Flyer was a stock car from the Thomas Motor Cars range. It was a powerful automobile for the time at 60 horsepower. It was about 50% more powerful than Prince Borghese's Itala from the Peking to Paris.
Wow.
In fact, most of them had a relatively powerful cars and engines with speeds capable of doing speeds up to around 70 miles per hour, assuming they could ever find a decent enough road for long enough to hit that mark, which they rarely would. The Zust and the Protos were 40 horsepower, the De Dion and the Moto Block 30 horsepower, and of course Pons's single-cylinder Césaire Naudin 15 horsepower. The hype around the race was large. So that before the apparently there was like everyone was hyped about it in New York. They were going that all the races were just trying to prep their cars, but they had so many events they had to go to in the lead up, feasts and all these things. So they were just like instant celebrities. And apparently people were like, well, if I knew this was going to happen, I would have entered the race. This is sick. I can't, like, it's way bigger than anyone was expecting it to be.
Is it because no one actually expected it to happen?
I reckon that's probably part of it as well.
I wonder if there's any benefit to like the short-term gain, long-term, I guess, issues with that of like entering the race and then just feigning a breakdown, like, you know, when you get sick of it.
Yeah.
And then be like, nah, car's fucked, got to go home. Because you've still got all the feasts and stuff. People... And then I guess, like, if you go long enough, people will still be like, oh, you had a crack, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
you
I'm not
did pretty
impressed,
well.
but I'm neutral on it. You just you gotta walk that line, because if you 2 days in, people would lose respect for you, I guess.
Yeah, or just forget about you because they're worried about the cars.
Forgetting about you, though, is fine.
Yeah, because they didn't know you before.
Yeah, it's just like if people actively feel, negatively towards you.
You are so Gen Z, man.
Yeah,
Wanting
big
is
time.
15 minutes. That's a thing that Gen Z started.
Yeah.
Before, we didn't need our 15 minutes of fame.
We'd be embarrassed to get 15 minutes of fame.
I was born in 2006.
Yeah.
I only know TikTok and Be Real.
I don't even know what Be Real is.
It's time to be real.
Got it.
You wouldn't know,
helps.
Grandma. So, lining the street, the street, aka Broadway, to see the start of the race was 250,000 people.
Jesus Christ!
There
really
wasn't that
turned
many
out.
people back then.
Oh, no,
Where'd they come from?
they had to create new ones.
Oh, that's why
They were
21
even
kids.
having horses fucking. They were like, we need to make up the numbers here.
Yeah.
Some of those people were foals.
They just told them to stand on their back legs.
Yeah. Yeah, so there were two horses in... One horse made like a two-people suit. Yeah. Like the reverse of a pantomime horse. Doesn't matter. According to Abbott, the race was scheduled to begin at 11 a.m. sharp when Mayor George B. McLennan Jr., son of Union Civil War general, planned to fire the starting pistol. A golden pistol.
No.
Oh, fancy.
That's
But he was
cool.
late.
Man with the golden gun.
Yeah.
He was late.
Characteristically, apparently. This was
Classic
his MO.
mayor shit.
The cars were stuck on the starting line with their engines revving. They have to wind up the cars. So they're just sitting there going, vroom, 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 vroom. But no, the gun's sitting on a table.
Why did they get in the cars?
They were like, oh, we're meant to start at 11, so we'll get ready.
Yeah, they probably need a while to warm up,
Yeah.
I guess, don't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
But
No,
still,
that's
I'd be
fair
like,
enough.
okay,
And
Mayor's here, let's warm up.
And a lot of them, didn't speak English, I guess. So they were just sort of waiting there going,
Looking at their pocket watches,
Yeah.
being like,
It's
Suck
go
it, blur.
time, yeah.
So then, vum, 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 vum. 14 minutes later, railroad
that's not too bad.
financier Colgate Hoyt in the VIP section of the crowd
Hoyt.
went over, grabbed the golden gun off the table and shot it into the air, kicking off the race. He's like, I'll shoot this gun. It's like, which is fair enough. He's like, why are we waiting for some guy?
But I'm also imagining he didn't sort of go, hey guys, let's just get this started. You've been waiting around. I like that he just walked over, went bang, and everyone went, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Fair enough.
He did shoot the golden gun.
Shot the gun. It's time to go.
So what are we? We're an hour and a half in, and the race has begun.
Yeah.
bang, the man with the golden gun has a different man, but he got it done.
A man who got a golden gun.
They were worried. There were so many people there. They're like, they're going to be blocked from driving.
250,000
People were crowding the streets.
We're back to bowling rules again.
How many can
We're
you
getting
get?
a high score today.
Can we get everyone to just assemble in a triangle kind of layout?
We're going for a perfect game here.
After the starting shot, the cars moved forward. Scarfoglio, the Italian poet, wrote, between two thick hedges of extended hands amidst a roar of a falling torrent. I mean, this is the kind of shit you get when you get a poet. Yeah. Scarfoglio then blew a kiss to the crowd and they were off.
King shit.
Yeah.
As it was the middle of winter, even horse-drawn sleighs were unlikely to travel in regional areas of America in that weather. The roads, for that reason, were invisible. They were just packed with snow. When there was roads, you couldn't see the roads. Strangely, Fenster writes, American highways were much better in 1808 than they were in 1908. In the first decades of the 1800s, on the eve of the railroad era, a good many commercial turnpikes and plank roads smoothed the way between cities because horse and carts was the big way of traveling.
Yeah.
But by 1908, the railroad ruled city-to-city travel, and all the roads had fallen into disrepair.
Yeah, fuck roads. We got trains.
Yeah, trains are much better.
And that's in the summer when driving conditions are at their best. This is at the opposite of that.
What was the tyre situation like?
Oh, really good.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal stuff.
They had multiple choices of tread from...
They'd figured out chains.
Yeah, put the chains.
They would
Yeah.
have been thin wheels, right?
Yeah, and they were now using round wheels, which was good. They'd just invented them. The
Oh,
square wheels had started to go out of vogue.
Oh, that's interesting.
Will they-
Bring them back, I say.
Clunk, clunk.
Can I ask a silly question? Were the tyres full of air by this point?
I'll be editing that out because I have no idea. Trains... Don't talk... I don't... I mean... Probably, I have no idea. They look like, in the pictures, they look like bike wheels, basically. So I imagine they had that little tubes in there. How's tube technology back then?
Yeah, I don't know if it's tube or if it's just because sometimes you
rubber.
see the
Rubber and
rubber
metal.
around a wheel.
Yeah. I would be equally unsurprised with either answer. For all I know, they were filled with feathers.
Warm.
Oh, I'm a bit cold. Just get under the wheel.
Get under the wheel. That'll warm you right up.
So trains were how Americans got around, and cars were really only playthings for the rich, like I said before. For instance, in Poughkeepsie, is that how you say it?
Poughkeepsie?
Poughkeepsie?
Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie. They had a driving park, for instance, and which was one of the towns they went through. And every town they went through, they pretty much got great ovations. Even though it was freezing cold, people would go out and be like, holy shit, look at this. Look at them go by.
Oh.
Some of the towns they'd stop and they'd have it put on a feast. So they were like
Yeah, this is
brutal through
unreal.
the day, but the ones who were up for it, not all of them were. Some of them were just head in the game the whole time, working on the car overnight. But some of them, especially the ones who didn't know how to drive and didn't understand cars, loved to go and socialise in the towns and just eat the feast and just be celebrities.
Yeah.
from
Oh,
town
it
to
is the
town.
journey, not the destination.
Yeah, and
time.
as I would definitely have entered this race, you can also firmly put me in category B.
Oh, yeah. Party boy.
Yeah, big time feasts. Driving with a hangover every day would, I reckon, be the dream.
Our German man HK was definitely fell into that category.
JD and HK.
Oh.
He
Two peas in the same pod.
and his teammates who were doing all the work
Oh, yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
they started to dislike him a bit because if they ever read an article, it said HK and team are traveling because he's the only one going to towns talking to everyone.
Yeah.
A real
They're just the
people's
ones
man.
doing the work,
Yeah.
but not doing the PR, and he's obviously not really mentioning them that
It's
much.
all about networking, and
They're
they're not
also-
doing it.
He's also being reported on as the driver, even though he does not know how to do that.
That's right.
So they're loving it, his
Yeah.
teammates,
Yeah.
who I'm now not mentioning very much.
Joel, how did Matt go about picking your new favourite man?
He has done well, but
You reckon Copen is going pretty well now?
we haven't heard what Goddard's up to.
Oh,
So, yeah, I'm being reserved. I don't want to overplay my hand too early. I don't want to come
Yeah.
on too strong.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
There's a few characters involved.
Yeah,
here.
this one, like everyone's kind of got their, because in the first race, there's a couple of people you're just like, whatever. Congratulations to the prince that won. I don't remember you doing anything exciting except for that time where you went to a feast. That's funny. This time, everyone's
everyone's
a
doing
character.
Yeah, they're doing
good
stuff, aren't they?
characters.
Schuster, even like his main thing is just being good with car related things.
Yeah.
and his teammate, the driver, is famous for being a good driver. So that's almost boring.
Yeah.
but. And then everyone else is like, I don't know how to drive. What's a car? Which is fun.
Fun.
I've got a poet.
Yeah.
You
I've
pretty
brought
much-
a film crew.
That's
Just push the
Goddard.
button
Yeah.
and turn the wheel. 2 steps, baby. Anyone can do it.
The other thing I don't think I mentioned anywhere is obviously power steering is nowhere near ready.
Yeah.
So the driving conditions are awful, but they're feeling every inch of it in the steering wheel, and they're having to use genuine strength just to keep the car going straight.
Have you ever driven without power steering?
Yes.
Yeah, I learned in a car without power steering. It's amazing how many rotations of the wheel to turn left when you hit Alaska. How about you?
Oh, yeah. My power steering stopped working one day. Brutal.
It's amazing.
How does it just stop working?
That's two problems because
they
it
didn't
means you would
figure it
have
out.
had to turn heaps but also pay up.
Yeah.
And all the main problem, not looking cool when you're reversing and turning with the ball of your hand, whatever that bit's called.
Oh yeah, like whacking a finger underneath the bars that
That's a
connect the
palm of
wheels
your
to the
hands.
central turning point. You just like flick it
Yeah.
around.
Right.
No, I
Great
had to
noise.
grip the wheel and like pull really. It didn't feel like turning. It felt like pulling a rope. It's like I was trying to ring the bell at Notre Dame or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Important job.
Actually, the bell at Notre Dame's called Big Ben. The fact I think I know is that all bells are called Big Ben.
But if the bell's called Big Ben, a name is bestowed upon the recipient, right?
Yeah, don't yeah.
So then the tower's called Big Ben too.
Oh, honestly, it's just one of those tedious facts that
Yeah.
tedious people say all the time. You know, like Frankenstein's monster and those sort of ones.
Yeah, well now you know
They're
that
fun
the
to
tower's
repeat.
called Big Ben too.
I don't think anyone genuinely they've all become like a cliched joke
Yeah.
to say it ironically
Bit of
now,
a parody.
but I don't think anyone actually does those actuallys that much.
Well,
I'm going to start.
Actually, I think they do. You'll find that there are insufferable people in the world.
I would love to tell you all how our man August Pons begins the race, if I may.
Does he?
All ears.
He does.
Okay.
He got off to a bad start. So this is a man whose big theory is light cars,
ill-prepared.
ill-prepared, not too powerful.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation.
Great.
Slow and
combo.
steady wins the race.
If he had just come equipped, but he didn't even do that, you know?
No.
yeah.
So according to Fenster, soon after he started the race, he realised that something was very wrong. Not with his car. So you were wrong when you guessed that he forgot his car. He did bring his car. Nothing was wrong with his car, but something was wrong with the sun. It was on his right when it should have been on his left. Either it was an historic anomaly or he was heading south. Back to New York City. He was traveling
This
in
is
the
as
wrong
the
direction.
race has just started.
Oh, he made it out of town. He was following the other cars, but he lost track of them. And then all of a sudden found himself
Going the
Going
other
the
way
wrong way.
and didn't remember chucking a Yui.
Yeah. But luckily the
Yeah.
sun was out that day. If it was overcast.
You know what though? I wouldn't
He
have
might
even
have made it down
noticed.
to
It's like, oh my
Brazil.
God,
Got
I
waxed.
found New York too.
Do you know what? I did that once. I was driving
no.
out in the country and there was a road to my right. It was like, straight road with just a road to the right. And I remember the road had a funny name like Sugar Gum Lane or something. I was like, oh, cute. And then an hour later, I'm like, why can't I find this place? And all of a sudden, Sugar Gum Lane was on my left. And I was like, no. I've done a loop, gone all the way around this suburb and come to the other side of Sugar Gum.
Yeah, if you got a gentle bend,
Be careful.
then that's a diabolical
I didn't
design.
even know it had done it. Like, and I'd gone around
That is
the
a very gentle bend.
That's impressive.
So, look, I don't know how this guy all of a sudden found the sun on the other side because Sugar Gum Lane was a shock to me.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did a
that's-
U-turn that he didn't notice. Did a 3-point turn, but he just blanked it. You know
Yeah,
when you're doing a long
yeah.
drive and you're like, oh, fuck.
Did I just do
Yeah.
a three-pointer?
Yeah, yeah.
Did I just fang a Yui? That's weird.
That's odd.
So obviously he was off to a bad start. But anyway, he got,
Did he ride himself?
yeah, he righted himself, got going in the right direction, but before long, the engine died and poor old Pons had to drop out of the race
What?
on the first day. Got the car fixed, tried to keep going, but by the end of the race, he was out for good. Didn't even get out of the state of New York.
Wow.
That
he
is
got lost
impressive.
in New York.
So
The state of New York. I think New York, there's a lot of rural areas there.
You're right. That's much more impressive.
And it's very snowy.
yeah, he got out of
Yeah.
New York City, just not New York.
I mean, I'm giving him shit, but he's driving an ill-prepared car without a roof or a
In
windshield.
snow.
So he
in
should have been able to
snow.
see the sun the whole time.
Oh, good point.
At one stage, he should have been like, I'm driving into the sun. I'm going toward it.
Yeah, he did a grease ending. And that was when he realised, hang on, I shouldn't be driving into the sun.
I think I might have died.
Is that what the movie is?
Yes.
Did they die?
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah,
It was
that's
all a dream.
Yeah. She goes back to Australia in the sky.
Yeah, that's
the
how you
big
get to
Australia
Australia.
in the sky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the big Australia in
That's
the
part
sky.
of the
That's
proof
heaven.
that Australia doesn't exist.
Mm.
So of the 5 remaining cars, there's the French de Dion, the Italian Zust, and the American Thomas Flyer. They're all doing the best. They're sort of sticking together relatively. And then further back, we got the German Protos and Goddard's Moto Block battling back at the rear. I mean, they're just already just spending more time digging snow than driving. They're going so slowly, and they're just like stopping, digging, then driving a bit, then stopping, digging, driving. It's just like an absolute fucking nightmare.
Sounds
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
They'd be ripped though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like whenever I go somewhere where there's lots of stairs, I'm like, okay, this will be torture, but my bum's going to look amazing when I finally make it up there.
Well, that's a good
good.
thing about the new Stupid Old Studios. There's more stairs than the old one. So I didn't think of that positive.
Thank God.
You're going to be tush pushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to be caked up.
Check out these Georgia peach. I don't know. Please, no one look at my butt.
Don't comment on his Georgia peaches.
Is that a thing? So, yeah, they're plowing through snow a foot deep or higher in parts. They're using planks of wood to help gain traction. The Thomas Flyer was leading by a little bit, but that turned out to be a bit of a curse because they're also the ones out in front trying to figure out where the road
Yeah.
is for starters. They're also the ones digging the most snow.
Just copping it first.
Yeah.
Just, you're going like, where is the road? I mean, they are the locals. They're from America. In their team, there's a guy who kind of knows this area a bit. Mm-hmm. Monty's driven around this area a bit, so there's a bit of an advantage there. Schuster, the mechanic, who knows his chassis, walked
Chassis
in front of the
inspector.
car, poking through the snow with a stick. So that's you know cars, mate. Here's a stick. You jump out in front. Can you poke that snow for a bit? See
Yeah.
if you can find road.
It's like macheteing the jungle as
Yeah.
the rest of your crew walks through.
Poking the snow.
It's funny to be like, hey, you know cars. Can you just go stand in front of the car? And be like, well, I do know cars, and that's like the one place you're not meant to stand in front of.
Yeah, especially when it's going
It's
forward.
like opposite of horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon, surely, I would imagine between them they've got at least 3 brain cells. There are methods of ploughing whilst using the car. Why not just use those?
Whoever, if a plow company had entered the race, they'd be fucking killing
They'd be
it.
doing all right.
Yeah.
Although the other cars would just be
Following, yeah.
just getting in that slipstream.
And then just at the finish line, just overtake
zipping
them.
out.
Yeah.
Well,
In
the
the
plow would
Holden
hit
Barina.
the ice.
Imagine doing this in a Barina. Honestly, it'd probably be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Britas
Oh,
have
yeah.
heating.
And a roof.
Yeah.
And a roof and a windshield.
And they're zippy.
Oh, they're
They
very
are
zippy.
zippy.
And you look cool.
And
Yeah,
a pretty good fuel economy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This episode brought to you by the Holden Barina.
A defunct car.
And we miss it. Bring it back.
Defunky car, more like.
Something I should also mention is that after the debacle with fuel in the last race, the paper Le Matin organises fuel deposits along the race for all drivers. So
Okay.
you
Which
don't have to
they-
source your own fuel like you did in the last race.
Yeah, they didn't have that option last time.
How did they do that?
Yeah,
Like,
because
as
they
in-
would have had to drive there.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think they dropped it off at little general stores and stuff along
Oh,
the
they
way.
probably could have used a train.
Yeah,
Trains
that's
or-
true. Train was king back in 1908.
I was going to say camels, but we're not in the desert this time, so probably polar bears?
Snow camels, which is what I call polar
Snow
bears.
camels.
Some sort of working dog.
Huskies. Dog sleds.
Dog with job.
Dog with job.
No dog unions. What's that about?
Sad.
So like I said before, I'm going to sort of jump through a lot of the horror, which is just a lot of digging snow.
Yeah.
And
Sounds awful. Honestly,
Well,
couldn't pay
That
me
sounds
enough.
like how you would have a nightmare. That sounds like a form of
Preparing
torture.
themselves for something that's going to happen in a couple of years. They're getting very good at digging trenches.
Oh, true.
Ah.
Good point. Goddard, within, not too long, was 70 odd miles behind the leaders in the Thomas Flyer. He landed in a ditch that was hidden by snow. So he didn't have a guy with a stick out the front checking for depth. And he just it's like a booby trap. The snow was covering it. He drove and just into a ditch and fucked up his car.
He held himself.
He and his team were left till 1 a.m. digging it out that night. So all day into the night. And because the car was deep in there, they struggled to get to their supplies. All they could find for sustenance were 2 bottles of champagne that were earmarked to be drank at the finish line to celebrate.
Oh, no.
But they're like, well, this is all we have. And they drunk the bottles of wine.
Sustenance.
Well, that's all right. I mean, I might be.
Oh, I absolutely would have pulled that excuse.
Yeah, something in the belly.
Yeah.
Grapes, it's a fruit.
Yeah. Line your stomach with champagne.
Yeah, you're right.
So the trio drank them for dinner. Ended
Become
up
better at digging.
Finally, the next day, they got to their hotel they were meant to get to, which for the most part, certainly through America, they were stopping at hotels most nights.
Okay.
And,
That is so funny that they haven't even cleared like the hotel zones.
Yeah.
It's
going to get so much worse.
Yeah,
and
I
then
reckon.
slightly better.
Yeah.
But
Then worse again.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're in Paris.
Unless you're one of the ones who's then home. And you
Yeah.
just get to drive straight to your house, have a shower, hit the sack. Hit Le Sack.
The leading
Does
teams,
suck.
the leading teams spent more time digging snow than driving, and the teams at the rear also. All of the teams spent more time digging snow than driving. Many times, only to heartbreakingly find that they'd taken a wrong turn and were digging in the wrong direction.
Jesus.
One day they spent 10 hours digging in the wrong direction, only to have to dig back because it was still snowing.
Oh my God.
Just like there's so many times where I'm like, and they kept going. Next hotel, I'm calling it a day.
I'm moving into that hotel.
Why not? Why not just reverse the car?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, the stuff coming out of the car's hot. It'll melt the snow. Just
Oh, my
reverse the
goodness.
car.
Oh.
Back it up the whole way through the snow. The smog is going to eat that snow. The snow doesn't know what smog is yet, so the snow's going to be extra.
They're like,
Oh,
hey.
yeah, standoffish.
Yeah. We don't know about
Not
pollution.
like modern day snow.
yeah,
Oh.
very
Where-
resilient.
Yeah.
Just changes
very
color and says,
domesticated.
"Grr." Yeah.
We
Like a
domesticated
monkey in
snow.
one of those towns.
Just like that.
I guess
Yeah.
it's technically still wild, but he knows how to, open a purse.
And smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got a real taste for chips. They don't occur naturally in the wilderness. How'd they get a
Monkeys
taste
can
for 'em?
navigate plastic into several kinds of foils now. But you reckon that would have worked? Just
I don't know.
blast
Maybe.
and smog at the snow.
Depends how
melting
deep
it.
the snow is. Because what might happen is it melts the snow and then the snow on the side just fills the hole that you've just melted. Because you're also making the sides hot. Yeah. Yeah.
This race was not a clever.
No, this is
idea.
a terrible
I'm
race.
still
Nothing
team
about it
race.
was great. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they did it. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah, it's sick.
According to Abbott, the drivers settled into a routine, rising at 5 a.m. and driving till 8 p.m., with the mechanics tinkering with their cars until midnight to repair cracks in the chassis and drain the radiators to keep them from freezing.
So they're working on the car until midnight, going to bed, getting up at 5.
Yeah.
Start again.
Yeah, to
That's
meet
not good or
to meet their
sustainable.
hungover
No.
teammate who'd just been at a feast.
Catch
Nah.
up with your old pal Joel Duscher.
Absolutely not.
They stopped
The
at
catch up with douche
Yeah,
part, I will
yeah.
know.
Sensible. You've made the right decision there.
They stopped at hardware stores to fill up on gasoline, one bucket full at a time.
Bucket.
The cars all had multiple gas tanks, and they were all separate to sort of avoid one of them.
Like a cow's stomach.
Yeah, because if,
Yeah,
if
so-
one cow's stomach leaks, they lose.
The whole
Yeah.
Cow
cow.
loses all the fuel. So, and then they just stop going there. You know, whenever you see one
Yeah.
of those cows that just stopped in a
They
paddock,
tip over.
yeah, they've had
That's, yeah.
a fuel leak.
Yeah. Been there, cow. I don't know what a fuel leak is for a human, but I don't want to get into it.
The teams forged a tense agreement that they would alternate leadership every 5 hours, but this spirit of cooperation quickly dissolved as they began to distrust each other, fearing that their opponents would sneak off in the middle of the night. You know, oh, you're leading. What's to say you won't get up early? And yeah, some of them, they really started to go, did you get up early to drive further? What's going on here? And they were sounding really paranoid. St. Chaffray, who's one of the racers, but also kind of the boss of the race, the guy who came up with the race, was feeling a bit comfortable in his position and was barking orders to the other teams, telling them that they needed his permission if they wanted to go into the cities for supplies and stuff. After being told that, Monty Roberts didn't like it. Didn't like the tude of St. Chaffray and said, "From now on, you will know this is a race." That was his sort of polite
That
threat.
is a huge statement.
I assume he pulled off his racing glove and slapped him on the cheek. It all sounds super draining and tense. One thing that would have cheered him up were these local towns and these celebratory dinners for the ones who had any time to attend them. But not all of them appreciated it, including, surprisingly, the Italian poet Scarfolio. I would have been like, this poet, man, he'd love a feast.
He'd love a feast.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's
Nothing
very
more
reductive
poetic.
of me. Oh, yeah.
You're a poet, you love feasts.
Yeah, you love
Someone who
feasts.
sees a beauty in life will see a
Famously.
beauty in
Poet.
this.
Oh,
Yeah.
they all love feasts.
Every poet I've ever met, I love a feast.
Maybe it was one of those poets, like the depressing ones.
Yeah. He's like, there's actually no beauty in the world. I just write. It's a living.
Yeah.
Cass, you were so right. This guy, he was a downer. He did not enjoy his time. And I think less than feasts as an idea, he didn't like Americans as a whole.
All right.
I brace myself for you to say living rather than America.
He didn't like living.
Yeah.
So he wrote this. So a lot of them are keeping journals. So we've got a lot of translated, of course. But he wrote, "I do not like the Americans as a whole, just as I do not like the cheesemonger, whom a prize in a lottery or a sudden rise in the price of potatoes has made wealthy. There is still too much of the herdsman about them." It's kind of weirdly put, but I think he's sort of saying they're new money. Someone who made a lot of money from luck or from business. Not like me, a man who's got generational wealth.
Yeah.
These uncouth Americans.
These Americans, they earned their money and my daddy gave it to me.
I'm allowed to write, and writing has not become cooler at all in recent years.
When I could be centuries off, when was the Boston Tea Party? When did America throw all the tea in the sea? Because if that was in 100 years, could be why they distrust America. You didn't want to be part of the Queen and the King.
But this is an Italian guy. Would that
That's
be
true.
Is that relevant here? 1773, the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah, that's also probably way too early.
It's also bricks. Gee, it wasn't just loose tea, it was bricks of tea.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what's the protest here? We're throwing bricks into the sea.
I'm thinking tea bags.
Oh, yeah.
I've always imagined tea bags.
No, bricks of compressed tea.
Right.
Wow. And so I guess the tea would have gone like a brownie colour.
So here's what I was asking the other day, because I was talking about all that tea that went in the sea. If you have, we've got a cup of tea right now. Yep, big cup of tea. I drink a gulp of the tea and then I top it up with hot water. Still tea?
Yeah.
How many more times do I do that until it's not tea? Or is it always still going to have a little bit of tea in there?
Yeah, is this like that guy on his ship?
No, because the
'Cause
ship,
it's always
every
a
single
little bit-
spot was replaced.
See, this is more like sourdough.
Yeah. How much is still mum's dough or whatever, mother's yeast? What's it called? The mother? The super mum? The super nanny of
Yeah,
the
I think it's
sourdough.
just increasingly
mother
weak
dough?
tea.
My argument was it's increasingly weak tea, which means the
ocean
sea is a
still
big cup of tea.
Wow.
But if that's the that also means that the sea is still dead bodies and piss and a lot of
I
things.
also agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ocean is pissed.
Okay, you're right. It's more of a soup.
It's a soup.
Right.
It's a fucked up
but do you-
minestrone.
But do you think of a pool with a dead body in it as a dead body? It's still a pool, right?
I guess.
Whereas a cup of tea is a cup of tea.
So
But
when
you can drain a pool.
Cass has thrown...
great
Can't drain
point.
the ocean.
Yeah.
That's where we're going for 2 hours.
I love that. Oh, yes. No, that's true. You can't drain the ocean. Well played. Well
So
played.
it is just a big cup of tea. Maybe it's one of those fancy cups of tea where they also infuse spices, but the spices are piss shit and dead bodies.
Yeah.
What about this? There must be a point, right? Because non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah.
they do have some percentage of alcohol.
Yeah, because they have to remove the alcohol from it,
and
right?
even like orange juice apparently has some percentage of alcohol.
Well, anything fermented, that's the process of
so
fermentation.
it's like this small amount, but legally it's not alcoholic, but there is some. So maybe there is a point when tea legally is tea-free.
Alcohol rules, I see.
Interesting. Yeah, alcohol does rule.
Alcohol rules.
Yeah, we're a pro-drinking podcast.
Pro feast, pro alcohol.
Yeah.
Look, I'm pro-choice. So if people don't want to drink, that's fine as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're allowed.
Duscher's making everyone drink.
Yeah, that's
He's that
my
annoying
ruling.
guy at the party. You're not cool. We're doing beer bongs. You actually 100% are that guy, I'm sure. I mean, you were born in 2004 or whatever.
Yeah, 2006.
2006, sorry.
Yeah, I'm youthful. But I do look a
Actually,
little bit older.
Gen Z they're way more responsible with alcohol.
They're not drinking as
Oh,
well.
the kids of today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't even drink anymore. And smoke, they don't drink. What? You've seen the health issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're lazy too.
Yeah, lazy.
Never writing off days with hangovers. But I do think it's good and right to generalize huge groups of people.
Agreed.
Um,
Back to these pesky Americans.
So leaving.
Dave.
Are we out of America yet?
I miss Dave.
Leaving. This episode would have been finished if he were here.
Oh, no doubt. But I mean, I think I'm only telling this little part of the story because it was a little hardship they hit, but also the town name is so good. Leaving the town of Schenectady, they realized the road was impassable, so a bridge needed to be built over a ravine to give them an alternative route out of town.
That didn't construct a bridge.
And Triple H apparently was like, sick. He started. He had to.
Easy.
He had to knock down. Like he had to fell a part of a forest to make way, then collect stones to build the foundation, timber bridge.
Jesus.
And then they were into a orchard or a paddock on the other side, and that was meant to be. One of the locals said, "Yeah, there should be a route out this way." Build a bridge, cross the bridge. The 3 leading cars realized, no, that is also a dead end.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So does that mean they have to build a second bridge?
Yes.
Yes.
So they come back, and then they're stranded for a while. And another local goes, no, there's a towpath down here, and that should give you a pretty decent run for a while.
It's a towpath.
I guess it was just as a path that
You
maybe
could go on your tippy toes.
I imagine that farmers towed
Toes.
stuff.
I was thinking like you have to sort of put your feet out of the car and Flintstones it.
Yeah. That's the sound it made.
Yeah, that is the sound it made.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Where is it? Oh, we're going to have to build a bridge to get to that. So they had to build another bridge.
Triple H is like, this is my lucky day.
He's just like badassing his way around. He's like, great, things to do, loving this. Apparently he just loved hard work.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. See, no. I hate it.
He lived in Siberia. Did I mention that before?
Yeah, he did, yeah. He's the one. Does he speak many languages?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're taking his word for
Yeah.
it.
Definitely Chinese,
Yeah.
definitely Spanish.
Yeah,
no
speak
one can
those.
prove otherwise.
So they built a second bridge and they're on the road again.
Yep.
Really not making any great gains in terms of distance, but they're rolling.
Yeah.
As they headed west, eventually the weather started warming, which would seem like good news, but it just led to melting snow and mud. So it's just like now they're driving through sludge.
Oh god.
And they're just sliding as the sludge is
Oh my
moving side to side.
They're just sloshing around.
Yeah.
That's just
exactly.
Goo City.
Yeah, when they're not getting bogged, they're slipping and they're sliding.
Goo City.
In
is
the
fun.
goo. Oh, welcome to Goo City. Fun
Population
Mario Kart.
U.
Population goo.
On Feb 25, Goddard and the Moto Block team stopped for the night in in Indiana Village, and they parked their car inside this like a barn or something. And when they returned to the car in the morning, they found that everything but the car had been stolen. Cameras, guns, films, So there's, I think all the film footage
Oh my
was lost.
God.
Tools, supplies, even all their changes of clothes were taken. So they had nothing left apart from the clothes on their back and the car. And he wrote all that in his journal that night, like, shit.
Yeah. I think we've fucked it.
Yeah.
So you remember how lucky he was?
Yeah.
In the Peking to Paris
Yeah.
race?
Yeah. Nothing
That
but bad luck.
entirely
They didn't
ran
steal
out.
the car. I think that's pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's true.
So you could drive home.
I think it's because not many people knew how to drive cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Probably
they
didn't
were
see
in an
much
area.
value in them.
Yeah, they're just like, rich people. This is a joke. Apparently, Fenster wrote that regional Americans, some of them just hated cars. They're like loud and disruptive.
Yeah.
And they didn't trust them and stuff.
Scare our horses.
So they would like sabotage ones, not necessarily in this race, but in general, they would sabotage cars when they see them. Some farmers apparently would shoot them from a distance.
Jesus Christ.
They're wild.
That's so weird.
That would have been awful though, like to have your nice peaceful farm, everything going lovely. The most noise your vehicle makes is
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you've got a
that's
big
a relaxing sound.
and it's so
That
nice.
was a good horse.
You know what? Thank you. You know those times where you hear someone with no muffler and it's just too loud and
Yeah.
it just like rattles your brain a little bit. That would have been every car and it
Yeah.
would have been cutting over not the sound of 100 other cars.
Yeah.
They would have all been getting canaries, wouldn't they, back then? The unroadworthy
Yeah.
stickers.
Big time.
That's not street legal, mate.
Yeah.
Too
Bit
loud.
too low there, mate.
Too low, too loud. So much like the Peking to Paris race, locals played a big part
Yep.
in moving these cars along with help of horses and mules and whatnot. The American team were first to utilize horses, getting local, and the locals were happy to help the Americans.
Yeah.
And the Europeans, some of them made an official complaint about it, which they basically reneged on or took back a couple of days later when they started using horses as well. They're like, actually, I see that this is a good idea. We're not moving otherwise. So the locals were often quick to help for free the American team. They would charge exuberant prices to the Euro teams for the same service. They're like, we'll help you, but we're going to make a little cash out of this. If they'll help them at all. Because, they were sort of, some of them were like, our patriotic duty is to
Help our fellow
help
Americans.
the American team. Goddard's bad luck continued in the following days.
Oh.
As the
guess
cops
it is.
couldn't help him find his stuff. He's like talking to cops and he only knows the word sure, so I don't know how he really communicated it. But apparently he was like, they're looking at me like I've done something wrong. He's sort of yelling at them in French, I guess. But and all of a sudden I'm the criminal. But then the next time he saw a cop, it was bad news because he'd agreed to pay a farmer, Calvin Fisher, $3 per mile to have horses drag his car along. This was about $3 per mile more than Fisher had earlier charged the Americans for the same service.
$3 back then, that's a fair bit.
Yeah,
per mile.
Yeah, totally. And apart from overcharging him, he also just went, I'll go get the horses, and just never came back, leaving Goddard to wait. And it just basically as a con.
Yeah. The con man got conned.
Yeah, so Goddard ended up being like, all right, I'm going to have to find someone else. He found another farmer who did the service for him.
Yep.
Then when he got to the next town, he got stopped by a cop. He might have thought, have they found my stuff? But no, the farmer, Fisher, dobbed him in for welching on the deal. He says he owes me $21. We agreed that I was going to take him 7 miles, which was the con. I think he didn't have to do the work,
And he got the money.
but he was going to try and get the money.
Didn't know welching on a deal was illegal.
Oh man, we found some wild things are illegal. In an episode set in England, from not that later than this, someone went to jail for lying to a landlord.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What was the fib?
that they were married.
This couple staying there were married. They weren't married.
They weren't married.
Landlady
at
was
all.
pissed.
How dare they? When someone lies to you, straight to the cops.
Yeah.
They'll settle this.
This will amend
this
the
is
sin you've
baffling
done.
because the guy didn't do the
He
job.
didn't do the job, yeah.
And he didn't get his money, but he didn't do the job.
Goddard protested, and the cop said something like, "Hey, it's not my job to settle disputes. My job is to arrest you."
I think it kind of is your job. Okay.
He's like,
Yeah.
well, we'll let the courts decide.
What leg do you have to stand on that you didn't do anything for him and you're going to the cops like, hey, I didn't do anything for this guy and he didn't give me any money.
But we
And
agreed.
I did nothing.
I went and got the horses eventually.
Okay? I was
After
gonna
I saw
con
that
this
he left.
guy and he left.
Oh, I certainly shouldn't have said. Thomas.
Please ignore that part, officer.
The officer's like, wait, you're in that big race. Yeah, but you're not American. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right,
That's
you're right.
Yeah,
He-
jail.
The next town was where the court was.
Yeah.
And he called ahead the cop called ahead to the next town going, hey, so I've got this guy. And luckily the cop in the next town was a bit of a motor enthusiast. He's like, let him go, send him up to me, we'll sort it out. But with making a little bit of a silly decision, Goddard just sped through the town. And the cop who was like, I think the cop saw that. He was sort of following and he's like, licking his lips going, my time to shine. On the horseback, galloped after him, stopped him, and then like he was rounding up sheep,
Herded him back.
herded him back to town.
What?
Maybe through a lasso.
Yeah.
Lasso.
So eventually, Goddard, he had to come up with the cash to be able to leave.
Oh
So
my
he
God.
he paid the 23.
For nothing.
He paid actually a little bit more because he had to pay for the extra time that the cop had to put in chasing him.
But nothing. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Goddard is innocent.
he got conned. So
Yeah,
that
that's
seems
true.
it seems that
It's
he
like a
should
little
be
bit-
at the other end.
It's a bit of poetic justice, I suppose.
We haven't left America yet.
Oh my God.
No, I do get more speed as we go.
Hopefully the cars do too.
Some of them do by dropping out in an attempt to garner more local support. Some of so they're going, geez, the locals seem to not be on our side. We thought we're coming to do a great race. What?
Come on, America.
Come on. Hey, why aren't we all in this together? This is for cars. Go cars. So in an attempt to garner more local support, some of the Europeans sent a letter to the president of the Chicago Automobile Club writing, quote, "We are discouraged. The peasants demand $3 per mile for helping us." I mean, that language already shows
Oh my
that
God.
I don't know why they're not supporting them.
These
Hey, peasants.
these disgusting poor people.
Smelly people.
No matter what we do, we throw dirt
Yucky.
at them.
They won't accept our own shit as payment.
We kick them and nothing will work.
Kicked by a royal and they are not even slightly motivated.
Not one, thank you.
The peasants demand $3 per mile for helping us. They charge $5 each to permit us to sleep on the ground, which is brutal. Yeah, you can have that little bit of ground,
course
but
you
it's
can.
going to cost you.
$5.
Peasants along the way, doubling down, love that, have filled up roads dug by leading cars, with the leading car being the American Thomas car. Would it be possible to influence public opinion to aid us? They're like, can you get the word out to the locals?
That we're all right.
Say, we're all right. We're car people like you.
But just remind them that they're peasants and we're above them. And so, like, they owe us a certain level of respect.
We can afford a car. It's just simple. It's maths.
Yeah.
Do
Do they not know maths?
Oh no.
do you
Do you
think-
not teach the
Okay,
peasants
can you
maths?
explain the maths?
How do you reckon? Do you reckon this would have worked?
I think so. I think that went really positively.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no.
No, okay. Always the contrarian.
Yeah.
Classic Duscher.
Somebody's got to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But you are correct, Duscher.
Ah.
Their plea fell on deaf ears, and the Chicago Automobile Club leaked the letter to the press.
Oh my God. That's not a deaf ear. That is an evil ear.
I never thought of it. Maybe the Tribune was like, hey, can you write an article to garner support? Maybe, but
Doesn't. No.
it didn't. Either way, it didn't work that way. The Tribune wrote a derisive article quoting the letter with the headline, "Foreigners' Pathetic Appeal."
That's incredible. That's a good headline.
Losers keep losing.
Sucks to suck.
Oh, I almost feel sorry for these fucking losers.
The
Pathetic
body
of
of article. Anyway, so they will accept $2 as and be grateful.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was very funny.
That's
Cop
good
that
stuff.
Cop that, you European swines. In late Feb, Hans Henrik Hansen, the swashbuckling Norwegian,
Triple H.
quit his team. The two alphas started butting heads. The De Dion got stuck in the snow, and Triple H, the Siberian, the guy who'd been to the North Pole, he was the Arctic expert. He knew snow. He knew how to extract automobiles. Unfortunately, even though he was working hard and working for a long time, he couldn't do it. This led French teammate Saint-Chaffray make a few snide remarks. This ended out escalating, according to Fenster, into an all-out screaming match on the verge of throwing punches until they agreed to settle the fight with a duel.
The only gentlemanly way to settle an argument.
Kill each other.
No. Only the loser dies.
Sorry.
Right. So,
So they couldn't even duel properly.
Triple H is like, done. I'll go get the guns. They're somewhere down there buried in the snow with a car. So he was heading for the pistols when Saint-Chaffray went, actually, you know what? You're fired.
Coward. Didn't want to duel.
Yeah, knew he was going to lose.
I mean,
He was
smart
bluffing.
not to duel with the army man.
Yeah.
This isn't the army, man. This is the solo Viking ship.
Oh, no, that's right.
Multi-language
Yeah,
story.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
HK is
The
the army
Norwegian.
man, not Triple H.
But
who's
still,
the
I
Viking,
still think
yeah.
probably the smart call.
Yeah.
It's the outdoors man versus the guy whose uncle's rich and owns a car company.
Just the idea, like, oh, well, let's duel. I'll kill you. I'll really kill you. All right. Oh, no.
No, you're fired.
No.
Then, in a classic move, Hansen gave it the old, you can't fire me, I quit.
Oh, yeah.
That's where this started. That trope.
That's right. Soon after...
Actually, wait. If you fire me, do I get like a do I get a payout?
What's the
Okay,
difference?
yeah, you fire me. That's
My
fine.
pride it has a value.
Yeah.
A few days later, the three lead cars, the Thomas Flyer had got there earlier, but the Zust and the De Dion were all now in Chicago. The Thomas Flyer was spending a few days there, but they were all attending this banquet when Hansen's like, anyway, got a little tale to tell here. And he said, I'm off the team. And everyone went, gasping. Scandalous.
They gasped a lot more back in the day, didn't they?
And he
back
said,
gasping.
he sent Saint-Chaffray said, you're the only one who's not French on the team. You're off the team. And Saint-Chaffray, he looked at Saint-Chaffray at the dining table, and Saint-Chaffray nodded. He's saying, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, I guess, which is weird. But anyway, so
he's announcing their breakup at a dinner
Yeah.
table. Hey everyone, ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
Just a
really.
little announcement. We have decided to. Well, I mean, one of us more than the other has decided to part ways, and we're fine, and we don't really want to talk about it. But I suppose if you had questions, I will answer them.
that's totally right. And then he's quoted as saying, doesn't even matter because, like, I could go by foot over the Siberian route and beat the De Dion car anyway. I'd walk it better than the De
call.
Dion.
Oh,
Okay, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but does he try that?
No, this
That's
is
where
one
my
of the
brain
things that
went
seems
to.
to be inconsistent. But the bloody Abbott article says that he joined the American team.
oh,
But in the book, I don't remember it. It didn't. There was no audio book version, so I just had to read this entirely manually.
I'm sorry.
That's
and
hard.
with my TikTok generation
Yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
Can't take it in.
I read it 6 seconds at a time.
Yeah, it
See,
is.
I'm not TikTok. I'm actually
Vine.
Vine.
Wow.
I miss Vine.
It is a huge move though to get fired by the losers and then join the winners. Smart.
Good call.
The Thomas Flyer led, driven by Monty.
Yep.
He was there going, I just want to continue on the race.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
But the Thomas team And he was there with the local Chicago salesman. He's like, no, stay. This is really good for business. We're moving units. Come to another banquet tonight. So he's staying for days. He just wants to, he's like, repairs and rest for a day or so and then go. But they're like, no. And I think he ended up staying for like 3 days or something. Meaning everyone sort of caught up to him, but, and then the Italians sort of zoomed off ahead for a bit. Yeah, but anyway, so they're hitting the road again. According to Fenster, as of Feb 29, when Monty, Roberts, and Schuster crossed the Mississippi, they were already more than a week behind schedule, with little hope of arriving in Seattle by March 5, which was their goal and a crucial pivot point in the interest of reaching Alaska in decent weather and making it for that, brief time when... the ice was bridging between Alaska and Russia.
Pretty crucial.
Yeah. 17 days had passed since they left Times Square in New York by this stage. And they were driving for something like 12 hours each day. And the leading car, the Thomas, at this stage, was averaging about 7 miles per hour.
Speedy.
So it was because mainly they were stopping and digging so much.
Yeah, that's
maybe they were driving 20 k's or 20 miles per hour at times, but on average.
Yeah, because I think 6 or 7 kilometers an hour is walking pace.
Right, so it's faster than walking on average.
It's about
so
4 is an average.
Oh, 4?
4
Sorry,
k's an
yeah. So yeah, like triple walking speed. So running speed.
Light jog.
Like yeah.
It would be a light jog because
Yeah.
it would just be it's a power walk.
7 miles an hour. Yeah. Anyway, slow for a car.
Fenster says, though, it was an excellent record given the roads and the weather.
Well, that's not a good sign.
And the amount of time devoted to digging. At that rate, though, the Thomas would take a century to reach Paris, or so it would seem to the men inside. And this is the leading car. And they're like, fucking hell. By the time they were in Iowa, the American team's traveling journalist T. Walter Williams had enough of shoveling snow. So he was kind of expected to help with a lot of the manual labor. He's like, I'm a tippity tap on the typewriter.
Yeah. I'm a thinker,
And according to Garrett, he left in a huff, calling the event insanity.
Yeah.
Another reporter, George McAdam, replaced him in Seattle and travelled the rest of the way. McAdam sent back daily reports by telegraph, telephone, and carrier pigeon, which helps date it a little bit. When the flyer was due to arrive in Boone, Iowa, 3 kids, led by Willie Johnson, another double dick.
Oh my God.
Borrowed their dad's car, put American flags on it, and wore thick winter clothes and goggles, pretending to be adults, and drove into town to rapturous applause. Everyone's just thinking that's the flyer.
Yeah.
And then the town's like, it looks a bit shitter than in the photos.
They've come a long way. They've come a long way.
And then they took off their outfits and went, that's Willie Johnson and the boys. You know us, we're local town kids. And they were pissing themselves, and apparently the townspeople were like, that is a pretty good one. That is pretty good.
Another great prank from Willie Johnson and the boys. Those
You little
rascals.
scamp.
They're rascals, but they don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
They're
Good wholesome fun.
Yeah, knows
just
what a
kids
prank
driving
truly
a car.
is.
It's just kids driving a car. They're not damaging anything. They got us good.
They took out a few pedestrians on the way, but
Kids will be kids.
kids will be kids.
Kids will be kids.
The American team made it in town soon, and they also got a very good response.
But
I
everyone's
imagine
sort of-
everyone was half going like, yeah.
Willie?
Oh, my kids again.
They're like making Willie stand in the crowd so they know it's definitely not him again.
Apparently, a few people took advantage for a bit of fun while the race was in town. According to Fenster, when a pair of motorists were pulled over for speeding, they told authorities that they were the French entrants in the New York to Paris race. We were just on our way to Seattle. And for good measure, they complained about road conditions. I imagine they're doing like their best French accent. This road condition. No good.
It's how you say bad.
But in this case and many others, the speeding charge was dropped, and the sheriff wished them well as they sped off again. And apparently this happened to a bunch of cops during these times. By the time they made it to Wyoming, they'd gained a decent lead on the field. the Americans. The Zust was back in Omaha. The De Dion in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They were stuck there for a while for repairs. Apparently, it was noted somewhere that St. Chaffray started eating puffed rice, which had was becoming popular and was being mass produced in the recent years. He's like, oh, what is this? I got on a tangent reading about it, and the guy who industrialized puffed rice, it had been around for centuries, but he'd made it, a factory thing. He exhibited it at a world fair and called his machine the 8th wonder of the world, the puff rice machine.
A rice puffer.
Oh, so good.
That is good.
Around this time, Monty Roberts, leading the race, was like, actually, I'm due to compete in the Paris Grand Prix soon, so I'm going to head off. And he handed driving duties over to another guy. So people just started meeting him at the next town. He's like, all right, we're going to switch over. The only constant was Schuster, the mechanic, the chassis expert. So according to Abbott, E. Lynn Mathewson, the son of General Agent for Thomas Cars in the Midwest, was to drive the Flyer through Wyoming to Utah. Then professional driver Harold Brinker would take command in Ogden. George Schuster would finally he wanted to drive, and he would finally get his crack from Alaska through Siberia. Just the easy bits.
Oh yeah. You want to drive? You want to drive? Fine, you can drive Alaska to Siberia. Let's go.
And then just to spit in his face a bit, when they got back to the European roads, Monty would get back in the saddle.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, he didn't love that idea, but anyway, that was the sort of plan.
It's like letting your sibling play the water level of Mario.
Yeah, that's right. And he's been there the whole time. They're off rested and stuff. And the water level is brutal. No. That's underground.
Yeah.
I can never think of the water one.
Yeah, that is it.
In the meantime, Schuster continued to sacrifice himself for the journey when no one else would or could, walking 10 miles in the dead of night to find gasoline and navigating the car out of gullies they couldn't avoid. So this happened to all the cars along the way. They had to dig themselves out of holes, basically.
So it's like a shoveling contest.
Just
non-stop.
non-stop. They're like, oop, we're in a hole again.
They would have come back so ripped.
Love the silver lining, glass half full attitude you have.
Yeah.
Cass.
Tanks.
Yeah, their minds would have been fucked, but physically never looked better.
Yeah. Peak of the shoulders and pecs.
Oh.
Abbott continues. By the time the Americans left Wyoming, they were leading by 2 states. The Italians were starting across Nebraska from Omaha. St. Chaffray still in Iowa, waiting for parts of the De Dion, while Lieutenant Copen, what are we calling him?
HK.
Oh, HK, yeah.
In the Protos and Charles Goddard in the Moto Blanc were just entering Iowa. The Moto Block was having mechanical trouble.
Yeah.
It was battling. It had just stacked so many times that, falling into holes and just it had done bad damage.
Yeah.
It's like slapstick stuff happening to that
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
How many states would you fall behind before you quit?
One. Well, it's
I reckon-
hard when I wouldn't start, but yeah.
I reckon 2.
Two?
Because I'd be like, 1. I mean, if they got that far at once, then I could catch up at once. And if they got 2, I'm like, okay, not a fluke.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm stubborn enough. If I did start, I wouldn't quit.
Oh,
I would have to be ruled
Yeah,
out.
actually, there's a chance you could tortoise in the hair it.
Yeah, exactly. Couple of states. If they're in a different country, I reckon I'd probably bail.
Yeah.
If they made it across the ice, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I believe that was the De Dion's strategy. They let the American and the Italian cars zoom off at times. Especially the Italian car would just zoom off at times, even when it was kind of unsafe to do. And they were like, we're just rabbit and herring it. We're just going to take it slow. I think the American car, to a similar degree, but they were just a faster car.
Yeah.
So Goddard battling, he's like, the car is dead now. He's like, I'm going to have to get it fixed. Decided to send it on a train to a bigger city where he could get it fixed.
Yep.
And then it would have it returned to Iowa so he could continue the race. But then he had a better idea. why not just send the car all the way to San Francisco, right to the West Coast? That's where we're going anyway. Cut out the middleman. But
Cheat?
this was a blatant violation of the rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the plan was to do it and not be caught.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, loading up the car on a train with his, there's his name, I think, is on the side.
Yeah, it's quite obvious.
Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton's on the back. They sponsored the luggage. So he apparently got reported in some of the press as them thinking his name was Vuitton. But so he's jumping on the train, and all this old school cameraman with his old school slow to set up camera is setting up as the train's being loaded, and Goddard spots him, and he's like trying his best to say no, and and then an interpreter comes and starts translating. He's saying stuff like, no, the car's private right now. Don't take a photo. The car's in private. No photos.
It's
And
getting changed.
The cameraman's just ignoring him, saying stuff like, things are going well. Here we go, setting up the camera. It sounded like kind of nutty, but he's yelling, and one of his teammates grabs a pickaxe and is threatening to smash the camera. And the cameraman's just unflappable. Then all of a sudden, these railway workers, these locals came and started standing behind the cameraman going, You keep setting up the camera, it's fine, don't worry, we got your back. So they were outnumbered, the Goddard and his team, and they ended up having to back down. They ran over, tried to start putting a tarp on. The camera's still slowly being set up. They're trying to cover the car with a tarp. It's all comedy stuff. And then they heard a flash.
Yeah.
Photo was taken. He's like,
We're done.
We're done. And they were out of the race.
I guess it's true that luck can run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lucky streak was officially over.
Yeah. It's like it wasn't even just like over. It's like an incredible lucky streak followed by nothing but bad luck.
That's off a cliff face.
Yeah.
Nightmare stuff the whole way through. And he couldn't, he cheated in ways that worked.
Yeah.
Kind of, he bent the rules quite a bit, I think, in the last race. I don't think he ever did he get this blatant? I can't remember, but.
He was cheeky before. Now he's just full on cheating.
Yeah.
Cheaty. According to Abbott, he received a cable from the owners of his car. Quote, quit race, sell car, come home. Motoblock was finished, leaving only 4 cars. So, I mean, it was kind of his car, but his financiers are like, we're cutting our loss here, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny, the poet. So that was how cables normally went. It cost per word. And apparently the poet at one point, to the marvel of, maybe it was Cedar Rapids. This was one town. He was like, this is a great town. He hit a really good mood.
Oh.
And he sent a cable that was hundreds of words long. It cost like $100 in those days' money.
Jesus.
And everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? I've never seen a telegram that goes on this long. He's just still talking. They couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And he's going, every third word's peasants. The peasants are looking at me.
Why not just post a letter?
Yeah, pigeons.
Pigeons.
Grab a pigeon.
Get yourself a
Oh,
pigeon.
they'd be too bogged down with a letter that long.
Yeah.
A pigeon
Too
can't
heavy.
take off.
Sorry, we have
It
a
takes
weight
off,
limit.
but then the bottom of the scroll's just scraping along the American desert.
So Harold Brinker's now behind the wheel of the Thomas Flyer from Utah to Nevada. And around the border of Death Valley, arriving in San Francisco the 3rd week of March, 900 miles ahead of his closest competitor, the Zust. So they're a long, long way ahead now. I'm saying San Francisco in full because I just saw a comment on one of our really old episodes where a local San Franciscan's like, you pronounce a lot of local things right, but you lost local San Franciscans when you said San Fran. So I don't know. They don't like San Fran.
Okay.
Which is weird. So what a gift you've got in your name
Cisco?
there.
Yeah.
Cisco? The Siskins? Cisco Kid?
Sisk.
The song?
Down to the
Cisco?
Sisk. Yeah. San Sisk. Yeah. Have you tried that? I think that's our natural instinct.
Yeah.
I think the Australian
Australians
English is
shorten
very
everything.
compress it, crush it.
Why would you say San Francisco?
But
Too long.
I think I
So
sort
long.
of I try not to care, and I generally am like, it doesn't worry me. And I certainly, when people are like, it's Melbourne, not Melbourne, I don't care about that. I love it when Americans say Melbourne. makes my ears feel ticklish.
It's like, ooh, that's not right.
But it does make the one that makes me feel a bit weird is when Americans call Australia Aussie. Yeah, we're heading over to Aussie.
So weird.
I think that I mean it doesn't worry me. It just sort of feels funny. You're like,
but I've never seen an Australian call us Aussies like OZZIE. We don't do that. But I've seen like listicles of people talking about things they've noticed in Australia and calling us Aussies written with an O. And I'm like,
I guess that makes sense, right?
It was AU, isn't it?
It's AU.
AUSSIE.
That's Aussie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and that's what I think why maybe Americans say Aussie because they would read because I think Americans would spell that with a Z and that's why they write OZ. So it makes sense. We're not so different, but I love these cultural differences.
It's beautiful. But yeah, so
they're much better at spelling things phonetically over there than we are.
I think I prefer
because we get a lot of our shit from England, right? Who don't know how to spell things phonetically.
No,
Worcestershire and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I prefer Americans saying Melbourne rather than Melbourne. Just sounds wrong in their accent.
It is very nice when they put in the effort, but then it's like if it's their accent is so different.
Yeah, it's so noticeable.
It's so like, you said the word wrong, and then if they nail it, you're like, that's scary too.
Just say
if people
Melbourne.
can nail a Melbourne accent, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
If you see someone like I know someone who's British, and if they pronounce Australian words correctly, I'm like,
yeah.
How did you do that? You're not meant to be able to do
Witchcraft.
that. I'm allowed to do your one. You can't do mine.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to do your one, governor. I'm allowed to do your one, gorgeous. We've just lately started loving saying gorgeous in an English accent.
No.
Gorgeous.
Only I can say it.
Oh, what do you say? How do you
sounds
say?
creepy when he does it.
You're all gorgeous.
Oh, gross.
But I thought the point of it was to be
So
gross.
fucking
You sound like a
gross.
pirate. Jesse, do it.
I was doing it on an episode we did recently, but I was just going, what was it? Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, gorgeous. You're right there,
Really
gorgeous.
different vibes coming from the two of
Right?
you.
He's
gorgeous.
creepy.
Oh, no. I thought I was
It's
doing
how a pirate would say it to a captured maiden.
Yar, gorge. Walk the plank, me gorgeous. So, yeah, Harold Brinker's now behind the wheel of the Flyer. We got Zust ages behind, and they're, the next in line. According to Garrett, after San Francisco, the task of driving the Flyer fell to Schuster. Finally gets his go. The figure of Schuster was so unheralded that the Times, the official newspaper of the race, if they ever mentioned him, they misspelled his name in every way possible. But his mechanical acumen kept the car running through blizzards, sub-zero temperatures, and sandstorms. At each overnight stop, he returned to the Flyer and repaired fresh damage. The Flyer had no heater and no top, not even a windshield, as discussed before.
So he was actually just super skilled.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a genuine badass. The record of the Thomas car from New York to San Francisco was a remarkable feat, the New York Times said at the time. Many skeptics declared when the New York to Paris races started out from New York in the dead of winter, none of them would get across to Wyoming until summer. Some of them would not reach Chicago, and a few that they could not even leave the state of New York. And that was true for one of them.
Yeah, one of them, they knocked that out of the park.
Yep.
But they were like, this
Central
is
Park.
impossible.
Whoa.
It's still in New York.
They're going, it can't be done. Not in the wintertime. So they were just like, holy shit, even just to make it here, which is not even really halfway of the race, I don't think.
Just to get nominated,
Yeah. The Americans then prepared to ship the Flyer on a freighter to Seattle. After a 2-day trip there, it would be transferred to a cargo ship headed to Valdez in Alaska. Brinker begged Schuster to let him continue driving with the team. Even as an assistant, he's like, just let me come along. This is so much fun. But Schuster's like, no, this is my time to shine. Fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Abbott continues. On Wednesday, April 8th, the Flyer touched Alaskan soil. The welcoming committee consisted of the entire population of Valdez, few of whom had ever seen a car. Schuster wasted no time investigating the Valdez Fairbanks Trail. This is how they were going to move on, try to make it over to the bloody strait to get across to Russia. And within a day, is like, the only way we can get through Alaska even would be to fully dismantle the car and put it on the back of a dog sled. He let the Parisian race committee know this, and they abandoned the idea of Alaska and the Bering Strait crossing. They didn't even make it to try the Bering Strait to see if they could. The whole reason for them doing it in winter and having to shovel all this snow
was to get to. Yeah,
they didn't even get to the strait to test the wild theory that they could drive across.
I'd just like to say, cowards.
Yeah,
agreed.
Doing a dog's job.
So, I mean, 114 years have passed since. Has anyone been able to cross the Bering Strait? According to the ABC News, for just a few weeks each year, the 56-mile channel fills with enough ice to make a passage feasible. But the ever-shifting flows and the dangers of being crushed between giant icebergs or slipping into the freezing waters have so far defeated every attempt to make the crossing. So it hasn't happened.
So people have given it a crack and died?
I guess so. I know. I did see one guy.
Sucks to suck.
I believe one guy has finally made it across in a land vehicle, but that was like a Toyota Land Cruiser converted into a boat. So it floated across.
Yeah.
So I think he got through that loophole that it is a car.
There's a hole in it, yeah.
It's got land in the name.
So what did they do? So they got to Alaska and they were like, oh no, actually, plan's fucked.
Well, yeah, the committee, including St. Chaffray, who's still in the race, they're like, all right, well, we've got to figure out a new route. The new plan. Firstly, the committee told the American team to head back to Seattle. So they've cost themselves a lot of time.
Oh, my God.
The Protos was in trouble back in Ogden, Utah, when Copen received word that the new plan was for the cars to sail from Seattle straight over to Vladivostok. I think in the end they went via Japan, doesn't matter, and then drive to Paris from there. This news wasn't good for Copen and the Protos team with HK, Copen, riding. The situation was almost impossible. We're not ready. I could only keep from completely falling out of the race, but it was impossible without catching the train. So he contacted St. Chaffray with his predicament. Chaffray has been in contact with him about the new rules, and I think he maybe feels a bit silly, Chaffray, about this whole plan coming. And he's like, the only way I can make it is by catching the train to the coast and then starting again with you all.
Yeah.
He's like, but the New York Times is seeming to say that that's against the rules. And St. Chaffray apparently wrote back, I'm the leader of this race. I was appointed by Lamata. What the New York Times says is nonsense. Let your car come by railroad. So he was given permission, and he did. He chucked his car on the train, and they all met in Seattle.
So he didn't see anything the matter with that.
That's right.
Fucking hell, Cass.
Fucking hell. This deep into an episode.
And
Still
she's
zinging.
Nearly 3 hours in. She's good.
Meaning that while the Americans were still heading back from Alaska, the rest of the field arrived in Seattle and set sail for Russia. So now the American team went from well in front to behind.
Yeah, second boat.
They slipped further behind as they struggled to organise their Russian visas. And
Why did they do that before?
yeah, no, that seems like an oversight. I mean,
They literally were having a car ride for months and they didn't think to...
Nobody could jump online and sort that out.
phone ahead. Or I wonder if the rotating drivers, if they even knew who would be driving at the time.
Alternatively,
fill in little
did they
balls?
think that because they were driving a fucked way that
Oh,
no
that's
one
right.
would stop them and
Yes.
therefore didn't need a visa?
Oh, very good point. They would never, they weren't getting on a boat and having to go
No,
through customs.
they were just going
Yeah.
across ice.
They just
good
drove
point.
in.
Yeah.
Very good
Did
point.
you come by boat? No.
I've been here this whole time.
According to Abbott, the Italian and French teams were forging across Japan when the race committee made another decision.
You can't keep doing that.
Oh, they can.
No, they're like, this does seem unfair. So in recognition of the time the flyer lost detouring through Alaska, going the way they were told to go, the American team was given an allowance of 15 days, which meant essentially that the Zust and the De Dion could beat the flyer into Paris by 2 weeks and still lose. So the time got added, subtracted from their time at the end of the race.
That's so funny because, like, you win the race and you just feel nothing because you haven't actually won the race.
Yeah,
You just have to wait 2 weeks
Yeah.
to see if they
Minimum.
cross it.
to find
This
out
committee
if you've
should
won.
committee to a solid set of rules, I reckon.
Yes.
I mean, they don't
She
call
does it again.
Yeah.
the greatest race of all time for nothing. It's the greatest organised race,
Yeah.
greatest executed race, everything
Goat
is
race.
spot on. The Protos was also penalised 15 days for taking the train across the Western States. They weren't just...
So
They
if they
asked for
win,
permission. You said, yeah, no worries, but you'll be penalised.
Yeah,
for
I
10
think,
days.
which I think is probably reasonable. Obviously,
so if they win, they've got to wait a month to find out if they've won.
your man Goddard,
Yeah.
he was disqualified for doing the same thing, but he didn't seek permission.
Yeah.
They were given permission, but they're like, I mean, if they were told you can get on the train, but we're gonna sub you 15 weeks,
Yeah.
they would have been like, good deal, because
Yeah.
we won't. We'll have to jump. Leave
Well,
the
yeah,
race
15
You know
weeks
what?
would have been a bad deal, but 15
Yeah,
days,
days
though,
is reasonable.
very, very
Okay,
reasonable.
great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Sorry,
reckon?
I was saying how long I thought this episode had been going for.
I would say, knowing Goddard as I do, as we all do,
Yes.
if they said, hey, if you ask permission, we'll only give you a 15-day penalty, he would have been like, risking it.
yeah, that's right.
I'm not going to ask. I'm simply
Totally.
going to be there 15 days faster.
He's a man who will roll dice. Give him some dice.
He'll
give him
roll
a
them.
big
Oh,
roll.
jingle jangle. What's that? Is that the click clack of dice in a pocket?
Yeah. Baby needs a new pair of pants. He'd say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, he'd just say, sure.
He'd say baby needs a new pair of pants, but it would be in French or
Yes,
something.
that's
I
true.
don't know what that
And he'd
is.
say what, and he'd say sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they weren't disqualified, but they were penalised. In Russia, the poet Scarfoglio wrote that the great men of the Russian government, all covered with gold lace, told us all the reasons our trip was a bad idea.
Did we
saying-
listen? No.
And some of this was far-fetched, but this just to put, if they weren't already going, this is going to be hard. Russians told them that they would be met. I didn't even look up what this means. They would be met by Chinese brigands, Manchurian tigers, fever, plague, pestilence, famine, to say nothing of the mud after 3 months of rain, mosquitoes as big as locusts, and other similar delights.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
That's a holiday I'd like to take.
Sounds good.
Being told you're going to be met with pestilence is ominous.
Yeah.
Just in your car with no roof, no eyelids. Sorry, windshield.
Eyelids.
Can't
Sorry,
have eyelids.
windshield. I guess the windshield is the eyelid of the car.
And also, after driving in the snow for that long, potentially no
eyelids.
eyelids.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Frostbite, they just snap off. Nope, won't
Blink
be
your last
needing
blink
those, I
one
guess.
day.
Blink your last blink. Never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be a last
There
blink.
will be a
There will
last
be a last
blink.
blink. Oh my god.
I don't
Savor
remember
it.
my first. Won't remember my last either. God, you don't appreciate blinks.
Yeah.
I'm so aware of them now as I'm doing them. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm overdoing it. Now I'm underdoing it because I was scared I was blinking too much.
find
You
that
feel
happy
it counting
medium.
down.
As
Yeah,
long as
my
you
eyes
save
are
it,
drying out.
as long as you savor each one, it's fine.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That's
A
a nice
little
blink.
counter appears above our head, and we're like, "What does that mean?" It turns out it's how
counting
many blinks
down.
we have.
Yeah, that's why the
It's
number's so
like grim.
big, and I'm like, it's
Oh
why?
yeah, yours is big. Mine is it?
Yours
Why does mine
says
say
10.
4?
Matt, finish the report.
That's the important thing. Don't go tell people you love them. Finish
No,
the
fuck
report.
that. There's no time. I can't give you your phone back to make some phone calls. Finish the report.
So in Vladivostok, it was decided that the cars would all restart the race together. When Schuster arrived at the hotel, he, as well as the Italian team, was summoned to St. Chaffray's room. As it turned out, his de Dion was toast, and he wanted to make a deal, saying, "There's no petrol. There is no means of getting any petrol. What there was, I've got, and I can offer it to the car, which will agree to take me on board." So he's doing
Okay.
he's wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
The Italians sort of see that as blackmail, and it pisses them right off.
Yeah, fair enough.
They storm out of the room, going, "How dare you? How dare you insult us with this?" Shouting at St. Chaffray. And they weren't saying molto bene, let me tell you that.
Oh my God, cozzy.
They were getting warmer. St. Chaffray was unperturbed.
Swimsuit.
That was my favourite. You do a few years of Italian at school?
Yeah,
that was my
absolutely. Yeah.
favourite.
Cozzy. Means like so.
Come ti chiami?
Cozzy.
Come ti chiami is what is your
that-
name? Cozzy.
Swimsuit.
How do you say how are you again?
Come stai.
Come stai?
Cozzy.
Cozzy,
Thank you.
cozzy.
I'm glad you said that before my trip to the fashion capital,
Chadston.
Chadston. Yes, I'm going to meet one of my Italian friends there.
Hopefully
On
you
the
know
way to
their
Milan.
chiami
Buy a
already.
swimsuit.
Yeah, so he's making this deal, right? St. Chaffray is wheeling and dealing. He's invited people into his room. The Italians did not like it. He was unperturbed. Then he stated that he could get a seat in the German machine easy. I could get on the Protos, no worries.
I want a seat in the
Almost
German
too
machine.
easy.
Almost too easy, but Schuster, I want to be with you because I think you're going to be the winner. And
Schuster, can I sit next to you?
I want to sit next to you. Apparently, Schuster replied that he would think about it. And he said, I'll get back to you. Quietly left the room. As soon as he and the journalist who was with him, McAdam, were alone, he let his fury fly. Schuster was like, what the fuck? How dare he? This dog. What a dog. What a low dog. But he would have been saying in old-timey language like, this
Ye old fuck.
What an old canine.
So he's like, there's no way. He said he would prefer to live the rest of his life in Vladivostok than travel with St. Chaffray in the fly.
It's-
He's like,
People
he's
are
a
so dramatic. You will find us in our cars.
yeah, that's right.
It's so cool to just make huge aggressive claims like this and know they're on the record because he's
Yeah.
talking to a journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd rather die than have that motherfucker sit next to me.
Yeah, they also some of the American drive. I think it was Schuster or Monty would be like leaving towns, going, "Oh, fantastic! This one guy, this mayor of a town, spent so much time making the roads around his town perfect, and he's like, I just want to make a really great impression, and he made them all so perfect." And then Monty apparently, or maybe it was Schuster, said to him, "Oh, these are the best roads we've driven on since we left New York," and apparently the mayor or whoever like visibly beamed. But then apparently
Gassed up.
and then like he said to the journalist as he's leaving the town or another town, he's like, oh, that whole state is a hole in the ground sort of thing. It's like you're saying that on the record.
Oh my
man.
God.
Yeah, baffling.
Just why not
Just zip it.
You're being charming to the face.
Yeah.
I guess when you're shoveling through snow and stuff, you're probably not thinking into the future and how and hurting people's feelings.
They also
It
didn't
just
have the
seemed
internet,
brutal.
so maybe that was fun.
Yeah.
Just talking shit and seeing what
Yeah, you
happens.
don't have Candy Crush, so like maybe just putting it out there, like planting a seed of hate in the world and watching it bloom is a bit nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a laugh.
There was this little town's hotel put up one of the teams, and then that journalist, I think it was the guy who quit the race in a huff. He wrote that it was that town didn't even have a hotel. It was so bad. And the woman who ran the hotel read it and was heartbroken.
Oh.
She's making their meals and she's doing like thinking I'm putting on the best for these guys, and then she's like, oh, that's brutal. But luckily the local paper came to her defense and did this article going, if this what he thinks of this hotel, which is a fine establishment with the best dinners in the area, then I don't think you can trust anything he says.
Oh,
That was just kind of
that
nice.
makes me want to cry.
Oh, me too. Yeah, it made me feel so heartbroken. So glad that the local journalist had her back, but
Yeah,
fucking hell.
It's making me glad that I'm not in charge of a newspaper because I would easily get hot-headed over something like that and be like, race car driver can get fucked.
So anyway, so Schuster's peed righto.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't ready to say it to St. Chaffray yet. They figured, so now they're like, well, we don't have gasoline. St. Chaffray's got it all. We got to go and figure it out. So Schuster went to work. He made his way around the town. He went to the docks. He begged for gas. Any of the boats had any spare, he took it. He bought it if they would sell it to him. Then he went to a department store called Kunst and Albers, and they had some spare gas in the storeroom. He took that as well. And he got a fair bit of gas, and he's like, great, now I know I don't even need him. Fuck him anyway. But I'm not even desperate enough to need him anyway. So the next morning, St. Chaffray knocked on Schuster's door, thinking, all right, let's make arrangements. I
Yeah.
got the gas. I'll give it to you. Let's go. Wait,
I've made a playlist.
shotgun? Do I get shotgun? Or
Yeah.
instead, as Schuster said in as few words as possible, that he had all the gas he needed.
Do you reckon he said that? I've got all the gas I need.
Yeah.
Got gas. Fuck you. That's less words.
Yeah. Even talking cost money at the time.
Yeah.
And while St. Chaffrey's trying to sort of talk his way out of it, Schuster just shut the door in his face.
That's the best.
yes.
That's
Got
the best.
gas, fuck you.
Yeah, it wasn't just word economy in like telegrams. It's just how they talked back
I
then.
hope the door closing was just as slow as the trying not to get a photo taken of your car being loaded onto a train.
So slow. He had so many like he just was leaning across as huh? Huh? Are we
I got
leaving?
a lot of
We'll
gasoline. I got what you need.
So on the evening of May the 21st, St. Chaffrey quietly transferred the rights of all the gasoline to the Italian Zeus team. I guess he's like, well, that guy shut the door in my face. The Italians yelled at me. I guess I'll give it to them. So yeah, he gave it to them, and he sort of collected his stuff and jumped on the Trans-Siberian Railway. The way it was written in the book was... when the heating in the train started to thaw his feet, he knew that his race was finally over. I can feel my feet, I guess.
Far out.
That's
I
where
can
it
feel
all
my
sunk
toes
in.
again.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The New York to Paris race had been born in his mind, but that didn't mean anything in Vladivostok. He boarded the train and his race was over. Schuster received a telegram from the Thomas factory in Buffalo asking, "Do you want us to send Monty Roberts to help you when you get on the good roads of Europe?" Which is just like really rubbing it in. 'Cause
Yeah.
like we planned, we'll grab Monty, the real popular guy. He'll jump back in and just do the bit over the finish line. Go have a few feasts and that sort of stuff. Is
Yeah.
that cool?
Give Monty a go.
Privately, Schuster said he was so mad he could have eaten nails.
Oh my god.
We should be that dramatic.
Yeah, so
I'm so mad I could
originally,
eat nails.
originally I started as a Goddard guy, quickly became a Triple H guy.
Yeah.
This could be my new guy.
Yeah. You on board the Schuster train?
Schuster.
See if you can. I mean, he was a man of few words. See if you can.
And one emotion, anger.
Yeah.
But he disguises it, I think, pretty well. So the question came: do you want us to send Monty Roberts to help you when you get on the good roads of Europe? And Schuster replied, "July 9, arrived today. Expect to reach Paris on July 24. Schuster." Didn't even answer. He was like, "I got it.
Yeah.
I'll be there. See you soon."
Got gas. Fuck Monty.
Yeah. There's a real between the lines fuck you there, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Ignoring the question.
Yeah, see you in Paris.
I'm guessing that was a joke. I won't even answer. According to Abbott, the suggestion that he was good enough to drive the flyer through the bogs of Siberia but not through the capitals of Europe impelled him. Despite deadened nerves and aching limbs, he was now only a day ahead of the Protos and determined to maintain his lead. It was a day ahead, but also kind of a month plus a day because of penalties.
Yeah.
There was one problem.
Far
Schuster kept getting lost. The Russians couldn't understand his hand signals, and the Americans couldn't understand Russian. One wrong turn he took cost the Americans 15 hours.
Oh, God.
That's a brutal wrong turn.
Driving in Sydney, once I took one left-hand turn that added 15 minutes to my journey, and it was the journey from Melbourne to Sydney, and I reckon that was almost breaking point.
Yeah.
15
Turnaround.
hours.
Yeah.
Have you ever missed the turn off before the Westgate?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Oh.
gone over
When
the
they
Westgate.
changed that off ramp to make it like a K earlier than it was initially, and
Yeah.
if you just you're autopiloting it, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh wait.
And then
you
you've got to
have to
go
go all
over
the
the
way
bridge.
west.
Oh, my God.
Once I got stuck in the wrong lane twice and went back, so went over the Westgate, back over the Westgate, got back to where I wanted to go, and then had to go back over the Westgate.
You would have thought about doing a hard veer left off the Westgate at
Yeah,
some
yeah.
point.
Do you remember one time I was like half an hour late to the podcast because I had missed the turn and we were recording late at night, so I just sent them a voice memo of me going, "Just start without me." And then I got off at the first exit over the Westgate. It was closed, so I had to keep going to the second and then turn around and come back. It was a nightmare. I was
Yeah.
half an hour late.
So you can imagine how Schuster felt.
Yeah.
15
hours.
Oh, God.
After driving for so long,
I reckon he's ready to eat nails again.
Time for his favourite snack.
I mean, at this point, just carry a bag of nails with you.
yeah. Back to Abbott. Worse than the wrong turn, the flyer sunk into a mud hole and needed days' worth of repairs. Schuster heard that Lieutenant Copen had left St. Petersburg the same day and was on his way to securing a 3-day lead.
Oof.
The Italians remained 3,000 miles behind. Abbott continues at 6:15 p.m. on Sunday, July 26, 5.5 months and 21,933 miles from the start in Times Square. Lieutenant Copen arrived in Paris. A delegation of editors from the Le Matin greeted him with tepid enthusiasm and served a cold buffet at his reception because they knew of the penalties.
Yeah.
But amazing, he still made this wild journey.
And everyone's like, oh, we can't celebrate you as the winner yet.
Yes,
Let's
that's
not heat
right.
up the food. Let's not
Welcome.
heat up
Yeah,
the
it'll
food.
be right.
That seems like the appropriate
What
level
do we
of
got?
excitement.
Leftovers? Just put them out.
HK, welcome. We'll be celebrating in 15 days. Now just eat
Yeah.
Yeah. With this canapes.
Yeah.
So Schuster had finally started getting back on track.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when Copen was crossing the finishing line, he was having breakfast at the Imperial Automobile Club of Berlin, where several people congratulated him on his good showing. Hey, you're still in the race. You've done pretty well.
What an effort.
Yeah.
I imagine that would have made him absolutely want to eat nails.
Yeah. He would have been like, actually, I'm still technically, if you look at the time between now and the finish line, I'm fucking coming first.
Yeah.
Still, technically.
But because communication was not his
Yeah.
strength, he didn't bother telling them that the protest ultimately would be docked 2 weeks for using the train in the American West, and that the flyer was allotted 2 extra weeks for attempting the trip to Alaska. Schuster had a month to get to Paris and still win the race. He didn't tell them that. He didn't need to.
Yeah.
Or he just didn't know how. He was so full with rage, he couldn't get the words out.
He couldn't speak for the nails.
There was a lot of scars in his gums. He didn't need anywhere near that much time, though, as Schuster and his crew arrived 4 days later on July 30th. Then, all of a sudden, when the finish line was within reach, drama hit once more. It was a law... It was against the law for cars to drive at night in France without headlights, and he did not have any.
That is so funny.
According to Abbott, a crowd of Americans rushed from a nearby cafe and tried to explain, but the officer waved them away. The law is the law, and without headlights, the driver had to be placed under arrest.
Why are there so many finish line arrests?
Yeah.
That's the
wild.
second race in a row. Except this time it's the winner being arrested.
Yeah.
Well, almost the winner.
Well, he's got 26 days to figure
Get out
something
of jail.
He's got to get out of jail and get the car across the line.
From his jail cell, he's looking out the window at the finish line and a clock that's slowly ticking. No, luckily it didn't come to that because a cyclist rode up and saw what was going on,
Punched the cop.
punched the clock and said, go, go, go.
He's not looking. You're illegally allowed to do this now.
No, the cyclist had a light on his bike. He chucked his bike in the car next to Schuster, and that was enough to placate the policeman. He said, all right, you got a light now. So there's a
But it's
bike
coming
hanging
from a
out the
bike.
front.
Yeah, perfect. Don't take the light off the bike. Just, yeah, perfect.
That's
Hanging
like
over the dash.
Great.
So if your headlights ever go out, listeners, just turn on a torch in the driver's seat, and that's enough.
Good
That's
to go.
fine.
Yep, good to go. That's
You're good.
roadworthy.
That's advice
right.
you can take to the bank.
Yeah. Take to a cop.
Yeah.
Cops allow it.
Yeah.
So finally, after 169 days, the flyer crossed the finish line to win the race. Apparently, though, the organisers still took weeks to calculate the winner. I don't
What?
know-
Yeah.
I don't quite know why. There must have been more to it. Or, yeah, I don't know if like the penalties hadn't been fully decided or what. But, yeah, for some reason it took a while to figure it out. But eventually they said the flyer beat the protest by 26 days. The Zust, which trailed the flyer by 48 days, was third and the final car to complete the race.
Right.
So 3 of the 6 cars made it all the way, which really is incredible.
Very
And
impressive.
again, no deaths.
Yeah.
No deaths. Isn't that amazing?
Wild.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Time could have just potentially killed someone accidentally.
Yeah,
in that
that's
period
what
of
I'm
time. Yeah. 6 months. Who knows?
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
That's not our business, to be honest.
While
How many blinks have we got?
Oh my god!
Matt,
Stop
not
putting that back
many.
in my mind. What am I up to? I can't see.
Don't worry about it, mate. Just keep reading.
While Schuster didn't want Monty Roberts to swan in for the glory at the end of the race, he graciously insisted that he be present for the Flyers' triumphant return to Times Square on August 17, 1908. So yeah,
That's the moment Schuster thought he was getting arrested. It would have been so funny for Monty just
like,
to run
whoa.
in from the
in.
sidelines, jump in.
yeah, just roll the last little bit.
I'm not the one who committed a crime. I can finish.
He still doesn't have any lights on, but the cop's like, I don't see any issue with you
Yeah.
driving it. Yeah.
The victory was the first time an American car won an international competition, and it had immediate consequences. According to
World War One.
According to Schuster's great-grandson, Jeff Marl, the race proved the automobile to be a reliable and dependable form of transportation.
Oh yeah, that's my one takeaway from this.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's so funny that the takeaway wasn't, don't drive in the snow, whatever you do.
It was like, wow,
These
it
are all
works.
right. As long as you got
Cars
lights on them.
Cars work, and if worst case scenario, just bring your horse in. Horse will fix it.
Yeah.
We've
If
all
your
got a
horse has a
horse.
headlight.
Yeah.
It also marked the rise of the American automobile to prominence. Before 1908, most people thought Europeans built the better cars, but this race was seen to prove that the Americans could build a good car. According to Garrett, indeed, sales of American cars soared in the following years. The race also generated scathing editorials decrying the state of American roads. Improvements began immediately. Asphalt was invented in 1910. Ground was broken for the Lincoln Highway, the United States' first transcontinental road, in 1912. So things quickly changed
Wow.
Jeez.
after the race.
Yeah, over the next few years.
And not it was not coincidentally, the road, this big road, this transcontinental road, went from Times Square to San Francisco. So they're like, let's build a road.
Yeah.
So the next time we do one of these.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
Wow.
According to Schuster, E.R. Thomas, the boss of Thomas Motor Company, asserted that the race cost him $100,000 and that we just don't have that kind of money. And that was his justification for not paying Schuster the $10,000 to which he felt entitled for 6 months worth of 24-hour round-the-clock work.
But you know what?
So he just didn't get paid.
He didn't get paid. He won the race.
And got fuck all.
And Thomas was like, this costs a lot, actually. So, yeah.
It was a bit spenno.
Yeah,
the machines cost money. The machine get money, not you. Man get no money.
But instead...
But I did pay Monty.
Oh, yeah, Monty got
I
paid.
did pay Monty,
Oh, yeah,
obviously.
he was the face of it.
We love Monty.
Instead of getting paid, Schuster was instead promised a job for life at the Thomas Company, which was...
Thank you for your hard work. Here's work.
More work.
That's
Your
right.
reward is work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be very long as they went into receivership 4 years later. So I guess he was right that they couldn't afford to pay.
Yeah.
So in the end, you'd think, oh, so good for the company, but it cost them so much that it ruined them.
Yeah.
And they didn't sell enough more cars to make up for it. Brutal. They did great for the industry as a whole, but their company was the sacrificial lamb, sort of.
God.
I can imagine that Schuster died mad.
With nails in
Nails
his
in his
mouth.
What do you reckon? Long life or died bitter soon after?
Died bitter soon after.
I reckon, and look, I know I've brought this up a lot, but I reckon he dies in World War One.
I reckon old age.
So
I reckon the ones in his mouth were the ones in his
Or
coffin.
alternatively, survives long enough, dies in World War Two.
Okay. Schuster was also never paid the $1,000 prize that he was supposedly meant to claim from the Automobile Club of America. But 60 years after the race, the New York Times made good on the debt at a banquet honoring Schuster, then 95 years old.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
He expressed appreciation, but noted that the Grand did not have the same buying power in 1968 as it would have in 1908, which
They
is a fair
didn't
call.
adjust it.
So he's like,
oh my
thanks
God.
very much for this gesture, but you know I'm not an idiot. Like
Can we-
$1,000 is not that much now.
Yeah, get the
So
abacus out,
thank
figure
you.
out a bit of inflation.
Just because like it's been 60 years or whatever, that's actually fuck all per year.
And it's a wad of cash, and he just throws it in their face.
Like I
Got
literally I
cash,
could
fuck you.
wipe my shit with it.
The media, like the New York Times would have been doing well in the 60s. I guess they probably couldn't have spared any more cash.
Nah, you're
anyway.
right.
But I mean, the tone wasn't
They
written in.
had a whole square named after them, but
Yeah,
they were
they
doing
don't have
it
the
tough.
cash.
I read it as a bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke, but now thinking back to all his sort of dramatic
Nah,
lines,
it's a
he
fuck
was
you.
probably being straight up.
Yeah. He's like, this is fucked.
Yeah.
This makes up for nothing. And also, I'm 95.
Yeah.
This does nothing for me now.
Well, he did live on for another 4 years. He died in 1972 at the ripe old age of 99.
He would have been ripe.
Didn't quite make it to 100.
And all good things must come to an end, and as does my report right now, which I believe is now officially the longest by some margin of all time. I'll edit as much of it as I can.
Yeah.
Wow, this episode's just Matt.
Yeah, that's all
They
right.
introduced guests, but they didn't talk.
Joining us today, and they've started the race.
But they did, 100 years later, they did another race, and his great-grandson was involved in organising that.
2008.
You going to tell us about that? Do you have time?
Yes, and preparations began. No, that was good fun, and they used some really old school cars. But
do
and
another
the Thomas Flyer, when they went out of business.
Matt, save this for your next report.
Yeah.
But we'll get
We'll
Cass
come
and
back.
Duscher back.
Round 3.
Yeah, that
If we
car
don't
was
find Dave in
put
time.
back together. I don't know if I ever want to talk about this again. Thank you so much, Cass and Douche,
No worries.
taking us through that journey in the
No worries.
sidecar.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for bringing us alongside your journey. And look, this was a long episode, but it was a long race. So thematically, it's relevant.
Yeah.
It's accurate. It was good to be in the car that was pulled by you, the stallion, at the front of the
And
hill.
it was great to have Duscher out the front with a stick.
Yes.
Poking in the
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah,
Poke
this is
around.
good. This is good. Oh, no, this is whole. You want to avoid this.
As the chassis expert,
Oh, that's a chassis.
inspector.
and Jess enjoying the feasts as we got to the towns.
Yeah, that's me.
And forgetting to mention that the three of us are involved.
First in line at the buffet.
So if people do want to find you, where can they? The website is the best spot. I know that. Sanspantsradio.com.
That's it.
That's
and
right.
you can just head to bios and there'll be a photo of me and a photo of Cass. You click on us and all the shows are there. But the shows I'm on, Plumbing the Death Star, Thumb Cramps, which is a video game review podcast, Baseless Speculation, and How Good's Footy. So 4 weekly podcasts. It's a lot. And Cass, what shows are you on?
I'm on Shut Up a Second. That's a weekly one. It's a silly one. It's very fun. I'm on some D&D is for Nerds. I don't think I'm on the current season. So go back so you can hear a girl.
All the boys are nervous. They don't know what to do.
When everyone sounds shy.
No, if you go back further enough, the girl won't be me. So just look in the show.
Just have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I. And sometimes I'm on random pods talking about video games I've played. Thumb Cramps. Mostly it's just whatever Mark Zuckerberg has decided that I might
Zuckerberg.
like. I jump onto Instagram. He's like, "You want Brain Dom?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, I want that.
thanks, Mark."
I reckon you're pushing towards official, fifth beetle level on this.
Oh, yeah,
episode.
definitely. Yeah,
Meso's our 4th beetle. You might be a 5th. No, Ringo's a 5th beetle. You might be our 6th beetle.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, I'm having deja vu having this conversation, but Dave and I said it to Cass the last time she was here was when you weren't here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
beetle-
So, yeah, she's
Beetle.
absolutely taking over Meso.
And people, I always see people love having you on. No one's mentioned Duscher, but they love.
I've just happily announced now that me and Mason are going to go head to head for do go on guesting. So yeah, get me
A
in.
duel?
Yeah, a duel. Bring us both on and we'll fight.
Wow.
Mason doesn't know about this.
No.
Actually,
Meso
no,
fires
Mason's
you before the guns are fetched.
No, I quit actually.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so sorry, but you are not allowed to stay here for the Patreon read.
we won't
will
allow
not do
it.
that to you.
Yeah, no. Hey, thank you so much, and to all of your Patreons, I hope the shout out part is excellent.
Yeah. To any patron who skipped ahead to the shout out, you go back. You missed some
back.
good
It's
stuff.
A lot of people do. It's everyone's favorite section of the show. Anyway, laters.
Bye.
Bye.
And now it's time for everyone's favourite section of the show. Well done getting through this far. Already longer than maybe any episode we've done before. But I'm so excited to welcome back for the first time in, I think, 6 weeks, it's Master David Warnocky.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. I'm alive. Just completed a race from New York City all the way to Peking. Beijing. No.
Paris.
Oh, New York to Paris, this one.
Which is where you were.
I actually was in Paris for a couple of nights on my travels.
So that's where the race ended. We learnt that France was a powerhouse of early motor car.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, in many ways, we continue with Le Mans.
Yeah, and Grand Prix, as Duscher mentioned, is a French term.
Oh, my goodness. They're all over it. They got their prints all over it, the French.
I was there all along, hiding in
right
plain
in front
sight.
of us. Yes, but great to be back with you. Thank you so much for holding the fort down. I've been listening to a lot of the episodes. I haven't heard this one yet because it hasn't come out, but I've been listening to the episodes. You've done a fantastic job, can I just say?
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
It's been enjoyable just listening to the show as a listener.
Oh, that's
It's
fun.
very fun.
I had the same when the Chow Chiller episode. I really enjoyed listening to that. I'm like, this is a fun show to listen to when I'm not on it.
I know. It's a lot harder when you've got your own annoying voice in the mix, but without it,
Yeah.
it's fun. I see what the fuss is about.
There's a lot of fuss.
Oh, it's
as
too
well.
much.
Stop making such a fuss.
Stop fussing, everyone.
So, do you want to fill people in on where you've been and what you've been up to?
I've been traveling. I went on a holiday with my wife, and then for a while there we were with her family too, which was great. We did a bit of Italy, went to Prague for the first time. Loved it. You've been to Irish pub in Prague, I assume?
I've been to Prague a few times. Love Prague.
Fantastic, beautiful city.
Is Prague the one? I went to this bar a couple of times I was there.
Okay, who was playing?
No one was
On the big
playing,
screen.
but it was like the whole thing was sort of made out of robotic parts. It's just a pretty vague memory, but it was like, felt like it was just out of town and everything was sort of mechanical and it was sort of like a bit of a labyrinth.
Oh, that sounds great. I missed the robot bar.
Yeah, possibly making that up, but yeah, no, I it's funny because half the time you're away, I was away as well, but we just recorded a bunch of episodes in the weeks before.
Yeah, you were smashing them out.
But after you leaving, before me leaving, we recorded a bunch of these. But yeah, I went from Adelaide to Darwin in that same time.
Long journey. While you were in the desert, I was in the desert. I was in Morocco in the Sahara whilst you were there, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, you rode a camel. There was some plan for me to ride a camel, but never happened. I ended up mopping a crocodile.
I did not mop any crocodiles, so that's something.
That was something I did not expect to happen.
That's quite the experience, I imagine.
Yeah, it was very surreal.
Mopped a croc.
Mopped a croc. Yeah, just another day.
And then I finished, I went to a couple other places in Europe, Amsterdam, which is great, and Copenhagen.
What did you get up to in Amsterdam? 420 somewhere.
Yeah, all right. Bit of fun there. And then I walked along the canals, as you would call them.
Oh, the canals.
The canals. Love a canal. And also a canal.
Oh.
Copenhagen, love that. I could live there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If there are any Danish people out there who are willing to adopt me, I'd love it.
Maybe they're queen or princess.
Oh, yes, that'd be great. I'd love to.
Is she a queen there yet?
Yeah, there's a queen there. Fantastic. And
the
royal
Tasmanian
household?
one?
Oh, Princess Mary, no.
Is that a different country?
Yeah, no, that is
Quite
there.
country, but
she's there.
She's just waiting in the wings.
Absolutely. And I saw where
Once
they
she
live.
takes over, I imagine
beautiful.
Australia takes over Denmark.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then finally finished up in London, where I met a bunch of listeners at the Book Cheat live show that I did, a one-off. Fantastic.
So cool.
People came up at the end. I got to say, the number one thing people said was, when are Matt and Jess coming back? When can you get all three of you back? So I'm just putting it out there. People are very keen in at least London town.
Oh, I'm very keen. Yes. And hopefully we can get something together. It's hard to get all of our schedules lining
Yeah,
up.
that's right, because we're always away traveling or working and doing bits and pieces at the moment. But
yeah.
But rain, hail or shine, the podcast will continue to come at us. We have proven.
That's right. There's always good understudies waiting in the wings. Anyway, we should probably start everyone's favourite section of the show.
I'm so excited to be back.
Maybe, I don't know if you can just litter in some details of your trip as we go.
Let's do it.
But the first thing we like to do, Dave, it's been a while for you, but we normally, this whole section of the show is all about celebrating our fantastic supporters you can support us at patreon.com/dogonpod or dogonpod.com.
Thank you so much to everyone that does that.
The show exists because of you and we really appreciate it very much. But there's all sorts of things you get in return for your support. Dave, what's some of those things?
You can get 3 bonus episodes every single month, which are a lot of fun. There's a mixture of reports and quizzes and all sorts of different things. Our Phrasing the Bar podcast about Brendan Fraser movies. And if you subscribe, as soon as you do so, you get access to over 150 in the back catalogue as well. So plenty of bonus stuff. Be in the Facebook group, which is a lovely place where like-minded people hang out. The nicest thing I got to say, the Book Cheat show was great fun, but afterwards, meeting so many Patreon people that are now friends, literally people from all over Europe were hanging out together in a bar, and I was having a few beers with people. So, and that's all because of this Facebook group that you can become part of, which is very cool. And also you get access to tickets before anyone else, and you vote for the topic. So you literally tell us what we should talk about.
So much good stuff on there. And one of the other awards is on the Sydney Scheinberg level. If you sign up there, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question in a section of the show we like to call Fact, Quote, or Question, which has a jingle, I think goes something like this.
Fact, quote, or question. Ding, 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 ding.
Ah, you remembered the ding, 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 ding. And the way this works is if you're on the Sydney Scheinberg level, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion, or really whatever you like. You also get to give yourself a nickname, and then I read them out on the show. First up this week, we've got one from Roshni Ray, aka most likely to regret listening to a serial killer episode.
But that's Matt. Your title is most likely to regret reporting on a serial killer episode.
Yeah, it's funny. I think whenever I do one, I always get messages from people like going, "Oh, sorry, you don't have to do it. Sorry, you didn't." I'm like, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't okay with it.
Yeah.
I wear my heart on my sleeve a bit too much about how upsetting some stuff is, but you know, it's what it is. I feel like it'd be weird if it wasn't upsetting.
Yeah, I love it.
But I mean, I still find them very interesting. But I imagine Roshni's maybe talking about, you listen to it and then maybe all of a sudden the dark feels a little bit.
Yes, it's a morbid fascination while it's happening. As soon as it finishes, you think, oh no, why is that thought in my head? Because... yeah, can I get to bed before?
That is a hat stand, right?
Oh no, can I get there before the lights turn out?
Roshni, you got to get rid of that hat stand in the corner of your room, mate.
Who's that knocking at my door with a machete? Is that the delivery driver delivering a machete?
Or the raven rapping on my chamber door?
Nevermore. Quoth the raven. Fantastic use of the word quoth.
Big fan of quoth. Anyway, Roshni has got a quote. We don't get a lot of quotes. Love a quote. Roshni writes, I suppose I'm quoting myself. Love
a technicality.
Love that. I wanted to say thanks. I started listening to Do Go On when I started medical school, and 4 grueling years later, I've finally graduated. Thank you for all that you guys do. It takes talent and time, and I appreciate all the work you guys put into it. What a beautiful quote.
That's a lovely quote, and congratulations.
You did it. Medical school.
That's very cool. For someone that's graduated medical school to tell us that it takes talent for what we do, it's very funny.
Roshni, is medical school, does that make you a doctor?
I think there are... Yeah,
there's different things.
Yeah, you're probably on the ward now, learning in person. Maybe, I don't know how it works, especially different parts of the world, but...
great work either way,
in my heart,
Roshni.
You're definitely already a doctor, and you're at least well on the way, if not already a doctor. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
That's
Roshni.
So cool.
If that's what you're going for.
Yeah. Not your value, but also very cool.
And thank you so much for that. Beautiful quote. Next one comes from Mark Wen, aka official Do Go On geologist. Suck it, Kevin, in brackets.
Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry, Kevin. And Mark's written a question, which is... I love certain phrases you each often say and wait to hear them each week. For Jess, it's, what am I like? Matt, as the feminist of the podcast. And Dave, boof. My question is, what are your favourite phrases from each other? Oh, love the podcast. Hope you come to Canada someday and I can finally go to a live show. Oh, man. I shouldn't say it because I've said it and been wrong so many times, but we think... 2023
that's right.
is our North American year final.
Last time you said that, you caused a worldwide pandemic, so that's on you, mate.
We were so close up in 2020.
About to lodge the application for a visa and all sorts of things. Favorite phrase. Jess doesn't say it much anymore, but I still love a good year.
Oh, a good year. Fantastic.
Love a good year.
Yeah, I occasionally try and bring it back, but...
yeah, you get shut down.
She does not like it when I say it.
Hey, it's not your place.
She's like, move on, Matt.
It's not your place.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones they're never really front of mind, but
You do enjoy when we're on the road quoting me saying, just a bit of fun.
Just a bit of fun. Yeah, big fan of that.
You love saying that.
That's a good one. Remember my famous catchphrase that really caught on when I said, isn't it nice to be alive? Or something like that.
Trying to think. Oh, what about, I had one and now I've absolutely lost it that you say. Oh, gentleman never shits. Would you try and cram in at any?
Well, something you got to remember is a gentleman never shits. I thought that was just is such a funny idea to me. You know, anything that a gentleman never does, well, a gentleman would never. But to be something that's obviously gross, but obviously also humanly impossible, I think. I mean, maybe Roshni might have learnt about this in medical school. Maybe there's a loophole somewhere.
Yeah. One of my favourites, and I know it's controversial. A lot of people love it, which we've heard from, and you are the pioneer of us referencing a little website called wikipedia.org. Yeah. And every time you say a .org, I really enjoy that.
Okay, I can't remember where that started, but it was a bit of fun. I think I might have even started on primates.
But you just started saying .org.
.org.
That's funny.
And I think I've started saying wikipedia.org.
Even better.
Soon it's just going to be a George. Thank you very much, Mark. Hopefully that was satisfying. What's any other bop ones? There's so many things I love, but none of them are coming into my brain.
Yes. I find it funny when Jess refers to me as a little boy.
Little boy.
That makes me laugh.
Not her value. Very good one.
Not her value.
From Bop Art. Next one comes from Shay, aka Secretary of Bops and all those who never got a nickname's dynasty. Secretary of Bops dynasty, but in brackets in between there, and all those who never got a nickname.
Because remember, Jess wasn't happy that she didn't have a great nickname, and now she's got multiple. Bop, Little Skipper on her other podcast. So dream big. Shay, if you've never had a good nickname, you know, it could happen.
Yeah.
I was going to say don't force it, but then Jess did ask to be called Bop and it's worked, so maybe you should force it.
And I think of you as Cobra now, and you forced that.
Thank you so much.
What about Mful? Shay Mful. Just giving Shay a little nickname there.
Where's that come from?
Shameful. Mful.
Oh, okay.
So they've provided the Shay. We've added the Mful.
Mful. I think that is awful. I mean, Mful. That's some of your best work.
Hey, just spitballing, no bad ideas. Shay has a fact, writing, hope this hasn't already been submitted, but Catherine Howard, fifth wife of Henry VIII, while locked away in a tower awaiting death, requested the block she'd be beheaded on so that she might know how to place herself, because she was so nervous about being beheaded, which is about the saddest and wildest fact I've learned. Wow.
Gosh, that's awful, isn't it? So you want to
She requested the block.
Get a good look at the block.
I don't want to muck this up. Oh my God.
Is that why they call it blocking when you're working out the stage movements?
Yeah, that's Catherine Howard started.
Got to block this show.
Got to block this out.
So I'll walk up, I'll bow to the crowd, obviously, wave my right hand, I'll place my head here, and then you know the rest.
I don't think I've heard that before, Shay.
I've never heard that fact. That's grim.
That's a grim fact.
Is that grim? Confirmed.
Yeah. But it's so endearing somehow to Catherine. Isn't that weird? I'm like,
I don't want to mess this up.
Oh.
I don't want to embarrass myself on the
You
block.
were too good for Henry VIII.
I think they all were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Thank you very much for that fact, Shay. And finally, this week from Siraj Pieris. You say Pieris like penis. That's how Siraj told me that once.
Siraj Pieris.
Pieris penis.
Okay, fantastic.
Pieris.
Siraj is one of the people that's catching out within the London bar.
Oh, so good.
I don't know how he does it, but Siraj seems to be at every live show. I pop up somewhere in the world, he'll be there.
I think he's got porthole technology.
Yeah.
Or, what do you call it, where you zap through a thing and you end up somewhere else?
I like porthole technology.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, sure.
Sure, why not? I was thinking that maybe he's got like some sort of diplomatic immunity, multiple passports.
Diplomatic immunity.
Is that Jason Statham?
I don't know.
Jason Statham was in Lethal Weapon.
Diplomatic immunity.
I don't speak real good.
And then he turns a key.
Oh,
it's a key
key.
pun.
He puts the key in the ear of someone and then turns it.
Yes.
And it like
Sorry, Judge. It's a judge. Okay. Sorry, Judge. I've got diplomatic immunity. And then he kills him with a key.
And then does he start going, starts doing the engine noise
yes.
as they're dying.
Anyway, Siraj, aka bingo enthusiast and real piece of shit, has offered a fact, which is dolphins identify their friends by their special whistles and the taste of their piss. What a great use of the ... A fantastic use of the ...
And does the piss come from the extra special whistle?
Yeah. That's what I would call it. Sorry, I got to go have a special whistle. Got to go give it the one-eyed whistle or something.
Do you know, when I was in China, one of the tour guides told us that they sometimes refer to going to the bathroom as singing a song.
Oh, yeah.
Because back in the day,
Gentlemen don't shit.
Gentleman doesn't shit, and also the toilets didn't have locks on the door. So to let someone know you're in there, you just la 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 la, taking a shit,
spinning around. Get out of my way. What is that?
Kylie.
It's always funny the song that comes to mind. Thank you very much, Siraj, Shay, Mark, and Roshni.
Piss whistle.
Another thing we like to do is thank another bunch of our great supporters. Normally with a bit of a game based on the topic at hand. Jess normally comes up with the topic, the game. Dave, do you have any thoughts
car
here?
related? Can we give them a make of car or something? I don't know. You tell me. I wasn't here for the episode. What was some of the...
So the car manufacturers, people came from all around the world.
This is good stuff.
We give them a car. We could. What about a phrase? There was something later in the episode which we were really enjoying. Was one of the guys when he got angry, he'd say he'd be like, "I'm so angry I could eat nails." So maybe they're so angry they could,
Okay.
and whatever it is.
That's fun. Did he eat nails?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But well, I mean, if we take his word for it, then yeah, I guess he did. So we'll go one for one. How about that, Dave?
Mano a mano.
I'll read the name out and I'll say, is so mad that they could, and you say the thing. All right? Bit of stream of consciousness stuff here. First up, I'd love to thank from Western Supermare. I think that might be where John Cleese is from.
Really?
Listen to his autobiography not too long ago.
Oh, fantastic.
Western Supermare in Great Britain. I'd love to thank Jake Middleton, who is so mad he could...
win a pillow fight.
That's mad. That's mad.
And when I say win, I mean kill the other
with
opponents.
a pillow.
Yeah.
Freaking hell, that's mad.
Oh, my gosh.
That's mad. That's bad. That's Jake Middleton from
Jake
Western Supermare.
Supermare. I love that. Never heard of it. I love it. So now I'm going next?
Yeah, now you go, yeah.
Okay, I would like to thank from Kensington in Victoria. This is all one word, this name. Amanda Geddon
is so mad they could punch themselves in the face. That's mad.
That's mad.
That's
That's so mad it's stupid.
It's pretty stupid, man. Normally when you're mad, you are a bit stupid, I think. All right, I'd love to thank from Mount Vernon in God's country, Ohio, in the United States. It's Old Friend.
Old Friend is so mad they could eat a 6-pack of yogurt.
Whoa, that's mad. Is that too much?
Without even snapping them off. Like the containers are still there, ripped off the top and just going spoon, 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 spoon. I'm angry, spoon, spoon, until it's gone.
Jeez, that's angry. That's such a vivid image of an angry person.
That's anger.
Old Friend. Maybe you need to talk to
a new friend. I think so. Hey, I would like to thank now from Los Angeles, the city of angels in California. It's Emily Keene.
Emily Keynes.
These names are so nice.
Yeah,
They're
they're
making them
also
so
nice.
angry.
Emily Keynes, so mad she could scull a full bottle of hot English mustard.
No.
Yes.
Grey Poupon?
Grey Poupon.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's a different thing, but a Grey Poupon chaser.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm still angry. Better get some Grey Poupon. Emily Keane. That's angry and also ill-advised.
Yeah. It's just like, tastes like yellow wasabi,
Yeah.
I reckon. I don't know if I wonder if I could tell the difference in a blindfold test. The
All right.
colour stands out.
Okay, but in a blindfold test, you have to eat a bottle of this and then a bottle of that.
Yes.
So which one was which?
I would love to thank from Ascot Vale, right here in Melbourne, Australia, Colour Blues.
Colour Blues are so angry they could smash a guitar,
Oh,
but a very expensive one.
really? Not that they forgot to switch the
Yeah,
prop one?
there was like, there's two there. They're like, I'm so angry, I don't know, I'll just grab this one. It's their grandpa's old one from 1949.
Oh,
They smashed it.
no.
Whoops.
No.
Next to it was a plastic one. So you really should have told the difference. But when you're angry, you go blind rage.
Yeah, the other one had, I can't think of a toy company.
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
Written on the
Hasbro written on the side.
Gibson or Hasbro. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so mad. I'm smashing the Gibson.
I'd like to thank from the Netherlands, I believe this is.
Oh, where you were recently. What was your funnest experience in the Netherlands, apart from obviously the brownies you probably had?
I met up with my dad's uncle, so my great uncle has lived in Amsterdam for over 50 years, and I caught up with him. That was,
What's he on the run from?
well, I'd rather not say. No, he just went over to a trip to Europe when he was in his 20s.
never came back.
Loved it so much, he
That's
just
sick.
moved over there.
That's so
And
good.
I've seen him a few times because he's come out to Australia before, but I've never been over there before. So it was, great to catch up for a beer. And then also, there's a place there that sold basically exclusively apple pie.
Oh, wow.
So I had to go there. Cafe Winkle. It's cool.
Oh, what a lovely city.
It was just nice, very walkable, very nice.
Yeah. All the canals, and
Love a canal.
I saw the OCs there, and it was such a great gig.
The OCs.
Yeah.
Cool. But this person isn't from
Oh,
Amsterdam. They're from,
did you not even get to their name?
no, I just said Netherlands. It's from Enschede. I'm definitely almost saying that incorrectly. I apologize to Norskieboom. Norskieboom.
Holy shit, that's a fantastic name.
Oh my goodness, it's so good, isn't it?
Norskieboom. So mad they could take the top bunk and piss all night on drizzling down on the person below who wronged them.
And are they like, is the wee going up and then down like a fountain that's dripping through?
That's how mad they are. It's funny, like all these sentences, you never know where they're going to end. You never expect them to end there.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Nor. I'd also love to thank from address unknown. Can only assume from deep within the fortress of the mole. It's Katie Tipton.
Katie Tipton is so freaking angry that they could slap an entire AFL team.
Whoa.
Slap them one after the other.
We're
Smack.
talking about 18 players on the field, or we're talking about the 4 on the bench as well? And the
422,
sub?
plus the sub, plus the coach, plus the assistant coach.
Holy shit.
That's how mad. Obviously, it's an AFL related anger.
So the senior assistant, not the other line coaches?
No, and the water boy's being left alone because he's done it. He's suffered enough.
Yeah. Katie Tipton. I think you got to talk to someone.
You're going to get a sore hand
Yeah.
slapping them all.
Yeah, there'll be regret.
Slapping sense.
You're going to have slap regret for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know, maybe it inspires them to, pull their socks up next season. Actually make the 8. Anyway.
Who else should we thank here, Dave?
Oh, we're going now to Glasgow. We love Scotland.
Did you get to Scotland?
No, only a few days in London this time. But I'd love to go back to Scotland. Anytime I'll go there.
I tell you about the time I met this lovely Glaswegian man on my travels. I think I was might have even been in Prague. We shared maybe a hostel room or something. And he was so nice. And he
had a bunk bed, pissed on him all night.
And he had this hat that he traveled around with, and he gave it to me, and I was so dumb. I'm like, oh, he was like, come stay with me when you're in Glasgow. I'm like, great. He's like, while you're traveling, get a few photos with the hat around the place. I'm like, oh, fantastic. So I took a few, and then we're drunk one night, drinking, being a bit silly. And
drinking, do you know what that is? Yes.
And then one of my friends, for some reason, was naked, and he took a photo covering his chop with the hat. And
must have been a big hat, 10 gallon.
It was a 10-gallon hat, yeah. And we thought it was a bit of fun,
it sounds silly, but yeah,
bit of silly
I understand
fun.
What you're doing?
We're all 22-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so I went to stay with him and showed him the photos, and he was disgusted.
No. Did he expect the hat back?
Yeah, he didn't want it back after that, and
so you were meant to take some photos and then give the hat back.
I can't remember if he was expecting, but I still had it, and he's like, I don't want it back. Hat's ruined. You've ruined the hat.
And has it ruined the?
I think about it all the time.
Did it sour the relationship between?
I think it did. Yeah, I think it might have.
Because were there a few other photos like, here we are from the Eiffel Tower, fantastic,
that's right. Yeah.
Very innocent, nice, and then covering it. His dick and your... That's why was he so uptight, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I could sort of get it. He just thought it was we were just on different wavelengths.
I don't want it back.
But it just breaks my heart to think about it.
He's so upset. Oh, why'd you do that?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you'd find it funny.
Well, I wonder if this person from Glasgow would find it funny. It's Ben Oliver.
Ben Oliver was so mad that he punched a hole through a hat, Mary Poppins style. He'd lost it. He'd quit the bank, like Mary Poppins' dad, whoever it was. Remember that bit?
Yeah,
it was like had a bowler hat or a top hat, and he punched a hole in it.
They're the best kind of hats to punch a hole through.
Oh yeah, made a great sound.
Try to punch a hole through the cap you're wearing now. Impossible.
No.
Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you so much, Ben. And finally, I'd love to thank from Wanganui in New Zealand, Amy Holly Kogis.
Amy, so angry that they built the world's largest sandcastle.
Whoa.
Sometimes you're so angry, you're like, I got to do something. So they just start digging.
That's a quiet, intense rage.
Yep. And then they saw the sand. Amy's like, I've been digging. There's a few ton of sand there. All right, I'll shape this into something.
Yeah.
Still furious.
Yeah.
And it stood the test of time, actually. Still there. A testament to rage.
Yeah. Fair enough too, Amy. I'd love to get back to New Zealand.
I've never been. I'd love to go.
I love New Zealand. I want to go back.
Maybe we could do a gig there.
I would love to do a gig there. Can we, Dave?
Okay.
We're doing these ones in Brisbane. If they turn out to be fun, maybe we can, we've got a bit of flexibility.
Take the show on the road.
Bit of comedy in one of our pods or something. But I think Jess will be keen too, hopefully. Jess is she's the only one who's got real work anymore.
Yeah.
Or like tied to a time. Dave and I still do real work, but it's just a bit more flexible.
We're men of leisure.
Anyway, thank you so much to Amy, Ben, Katie, Nor, Kalla, Emily, old friend, Amanda Gedden, and Jake. And the last thing we do, Dave, I don't know if you recall this, we welcome some people into the Triptych Club.
Absolutely.
Now, do you know how the Triptych Club works?
It's been a little while, but I believe these are the people that have been on the shout-out level for 3 consecutive years, never dropped off, and for their unwavering support, we welcome them into a Hall of Fame /club /nightclub /restaurant /whatever you want it to be, a clubhouse.
Yeah.
Bar, pub.
You've got lifetime membership.
Absolutely. And you can there's a tattoo parlor out back if you want to ink the celebration.
Yeah.
Obviously you don't have to, but a bunch of people have, which is quite cool.
And Mr. Heggie, one of the greatest tattoo artists in the world, is already a member, I believe. So
he's out the back.
But he's not on the clock.
No.
Nor should he be, but he might appreciate it if you want to show him.
Yeah, check this out.
Check this out. This is what I got. What do you think? And he, as far as I know, will be kind.
Yeah.
It's shit.
Next.
I don't know what Mr. Heggie looks like or sounds like.
No. But we know what he acts like, and it's a gentleman.
Yeah. Hey, that's fucking lovely. I'm not sure where in England he's from.
Have a few goes. I believe he's
Oh, that's fucking lovely.
operating out of Brighton.
Oh, Brighton. Nick Cave's hometown. That's my only fact about it. Beautiful pier.
Love the pier. My goodness.
Anyway, so we've got 2 inductees this week, Dave.
Fantastic.
Normally, Jess has got a drink behind the bar that's, a cocktail based on the episode. What is the race of the century cocktail, Dave?
It's oil
Okay.
mixed with vodka.
What is it, Valvoline?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
oils.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
It's a tiny bit of oil, like enough that you could get the taste of it, but it's not going to kill you. Then it's got some very cheap vodka, and it's topped up with cola.
Beautiful.
So hopefully, get it in you. And we call it the engine rever.
Yeah.
Trevor's engine revers.
Trevor's engine revers.
That's what we call
beautiful.
it. Trevor behind the bar, of course. Trevor Marmalade.
What else do we normally do? You've normally booked a band?
I've normally booked a band.
Yeah.
And I have booked the band, the New York Dolls.
Whoa.
So
In honor of
New York's.
So, or was that a coincidence?
Absolutely. It's always a coincidence. It's always a coincidence. But yeah, can you believe I've got the New York Dolls on the bill?
I think you slipped up there.
No,
Dave.
I met them. I actually met them in Copenhagen. I said, can you do a little gig for us? I said, no
The
worries.
New York Dolls were in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
I think, am I right in thinking one of the New York Dolls was in A Very Merry Christmas?
Oh my, you would know because you're
Watch
probably
over
the
here.
only person on earth who's seen them more than once.
Yeah. Big fan. That is funny. Let's see. David Johansen. This is the guy I was thinking. Yeah, he was.
That's the main.
He's best known as a member of the seminal proto-punk band, the New York Dolls. He plays the barman. He sings a little bit.
Or maybe he could come back behind the bar with Trevor.
Oh my God.
Guest appearance.
Fantastic. So
New thing. We have to talk about who's behind the bar. It gets longer and longer. But it's going to be a great night out. Going to be a great night out.
great night out. And so the way this works is I'm on the door. I'm going to lift the velvet rope. I've got a clipboard. I've got a door list. Only 2 names on it this week. I'm going to call them out. If your name is read out, run in. Everyone who's already in is there clapping along, chanting your name. Dave's up on stage. He's hosting the evening before the New York Dolls play the after party.
Yeah, of course. Every great band needs a great MC.
So Dave's going to hype you up as you come in, and he does a beautiful job of it. And as Jess isn't here, I'm going to boost Dave up as
Thank you.
best
Appreciate
as I
it.
can.
Honestly, I've been away for a little week, so I need to work back in positivity and courage.
All right. So you ready to go?
Absolutely.
First up and we've just heard from them, from Seattle in Washington, the United States, home of Dr. Fraser Crane. It's Roshni Ray.
Roshni raised the roof.
And from Austin, Texas, stay weird, it's Brianne Wharton.
Oh, Wharton, here's a who.
That is,
Wharton, here's a who. That's pretty good.
yeah, but, I mean, what does it mean in a hyped up way?
Okay, Brianne.
What about Wharton, here's a boo, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. Wharton is a boo, yeah.
I don't know if that's good, but it's harder than it looks.
It's difficult.
Welcome in, Brianne and Roshni. Thanks so much for joining us. Make yourselves at home. Grab yourselves a drink from Trevor.
Absolutely. Trevor's Revers.
I think that brings us to the end of the episode, Dave. The longest one we've ever done.
Wow.
By quite a margin,
I was
reckon.
here for about 8% of it. So thank you so much for having me back. Appreciate that. If people want to get in contact with us, Matt, where can they do that?
Well, there's a beautiful new website we've got that our great web designer put together called dogoon.com. No, dogoonpod.com.
Doonpod.com, absolutely.
And we've also got an email address, dogoonpod@gmail.com. We're dogoonpod on all social medias, apart from TikTok for some reason. I think Jess opted for Do Go On Podcast.
Did someone get Do Go On Pod?
I'm not sure. I just think Jess thought TikTok, they're a bit more sophisticated.
Yes, for sure. Like I've signed up for TikTok. I haven't put anything on there, but I was annoyed because at Dave Warnocky, which is what I'm on, everything was taken.
Really?
God damn it.
Are they using
Then
it?
I tried to look into it, and then I realized that it was me. I took it 6 months earlier, so
I was going to say, there's no other Dave Warnockys, are
got the
there?
handle. I think I've also got Dave.Warnocky just in case.
That's good to have the backup there. Yeah, so get involved wherever you can. You can buy some merchandise. We've got hoodies and other bibs and bobs.
That's right. Do we sell bibs?
No, I don't
We do
think
sell
we
bobs,
bibs.
but there's
We
stickers, there's mugs, there's T-shirts, there's sweats,
yeah.
all sorts of stuff through the website.
You can pay for Dave's sweat.
Absolutely.
Little vial of Dave's sweat.
By
and
the
it is
mil.
vile.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that.
But it will make you live longer, so it's worth the swallow. Thank you so much for listening to the show, supporting the show. I'll be back next week with my first report in a long, long time. Been cooking this one up, been voted for by the Patreon supporters. So very excited to be back in the studio. Thank you so much. But until then, I'll say thank you and goodbye.
Laters.
Yeah, just to see what it's like, because you might be a con man, get conned once, and be like, oh, and
Con
then
me
you
once.
can do it.
Shame on me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't get conned again.
Timely reference.
Can't get caught again. He gets
I
so,
don't- I'm never not find that funny.
Yeah,
he
it's,
gets so he gets so lost in it. Can't get caught again.
I think we've had some great prime ministers for
Sculling beer.
well, and just
Bob
putting
Hawke.
their foot in their mouths at
Yeah.
times. Like Tony Abbott at that time said something about being the suppository of knowledge.
it's
Pretty
good
funny. I
stuff.
suppose
Stuff
it
like
goes
that.
in your butt.
Yeah.
There's been some classics.
Yeah.
I think Abbott had a lot of them.
Yeah.
But America just keeps giving.
Yeah.
All of the presidents in my lifetime, and the current one, man, some of those clips are wild.
Yeah.
Where you're like, what?
What's happening?
What's happening?
Well, the videos, I've seen people say that a lot of them they speak like they're being fed words through an earpiece of someone who's watching them talk.
Yeah.
So it does. They're always like 2 words behind in what they're saying.
Right.
It sounds like the
Oh,
person someone's
interesting.
watching them and then giving them the lines.
Oh, I mean, I do this podcast, edit it, and I still have so many flubs that make it through. Doing it live all the time when you're always on camera, I would gaff non-stop every day. I'd gaff so hard all time, all time, like
All time.
George W. Bush.
All time you'd
there you go.
gaff.
Good
Yeah.
example. But I find it is pretty fun. But yeah, I would be hopeless trying to talk on record all the time.
It's hard.
But apart from, obviously a lot of world leaders do bad things all the time. If you
I have
take
heard
that out
that.
of the equation, fuck, the American presidents have been entertaining at times.
He died like a dog. That's one of my favorites from Trump.
That's a Trump. Oh, that's
Oh
great.
God.
Who was he talking about?
That's a great question.
A war hero or something?
No. Like an enemy.
Okay.
At the time where this was pre-presidency, when he was tweeting about how Robert Pattinson should leave Kirsten Stewart.
Oh, that's great.
Kristen
my
Stewart.
God.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
He did so many tweets about him. Being like, she'll do it again,
Really?
man. You got to get it.
That's so funny. Wait, were they together or is he talking about the characters in the movie?
No, when they were
They were
together
together.
and
Yeah,
then she
together in
cheated
real
on him.
life.
Would have been way better if
That
he
would've
thought
been
Twilight
funnier.
was real.
No, I
But-
think it had just come out that she'd cheated on him, and he was like, Robert has to get out of that
Get out of
situation.
there. Once a
So-
cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
Snow White and the Huntsman era,
Oh,
where
that's
Kirsten
great
Stewart and the director of the film had an affair. Donald Trump was weighing in heavily.
Was it Biden who forgot Morrison's name?
Yeah.
Is it that? Oh, no. Yeah. That. And good on you, that fella over there.
Interesting, incredible.
Someone forgot Albo's name the other week.
yeah.
I think it was Biden.
No, I thought that
no,
was,
it was
a
somebody
Canadian-
else.
Oh, Trudeau.
Was it
Trudeau.
Trudeau.
But
So
I
why
mean-
not just say Mr. Prime Minister or something?
Say mate. Mate is so handy.
Yeah, mate, that's, it feels like holding out a little, like, to
Again,
a kangaroo
I'm
or
never,
something.
I'm never more anxious, I don't think, in my whole life than the start of doing podcasts with guests. People I know really well. I get so nervous about fucking up your names.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, you didn't
Every
introduce
time.
today's episode.
I
Jeff
introduced
nailed it.
you though, and I'm like, fuck.
I want you to know that you could get my name wrong to my face, and I'd be fine.
I would never correct. I would never
also
correct.
be. I'm often fine, but I still just feel I don't know, mortified somehow.
When I've worked other jobs and you have to say your name over the phone or whatever, people will be like, I spoke to a cat today. And I'm like, yes, you did. That was me.
Yep.
And I get to be someone else. It's exciting. They're like, are you Kathy? Did I speak to you? I'm like, 100%.
Sure did, yep.
My name's Kathy.
I'm often Max,
Max.
which I like.
I get Jeff,
fun.
so that's not good.
My name Jeff.
Yeah, my name's Jeff. One time I spoke to a customer, I answered the phone and I said, you're speaking with Jess. And they said, what was your name? And I said, Jess. And he goes, Catherine, was it? And I went, yep.
That's a leap. Were you talking to Biden?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. President. This is Jess speaking. Catherine, yes.
Yes.
I think it's nice for Australia to see that, because I think occasionally the news will show our Prime Minister meeting with the president, and be trying to make it out like they're equals. And it's good that quite regularly they'll show that is not the case.
That's not the case.
Well, they're never at our house. It's always, come to mine. It's like, do you want to come over? Nah, my house is bigger.
Actually, I would love to, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mum says, well, it's just because we got the big TV and the Xbox is here. So, like, we could go to yours, but, like, if you wanted to play Xbox, you'd have to come to mine.
What would we do at your shitty little boring house?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you've got the Wii, yeah? Like, did you want to play Wii? We could.
It's just like Wii hasn't been relevant for like 10 years. So if you want like the nostalgia element, sure. But if you want a good game,
I still
and
think
the
of
pool,
the Wii as new futuristic technology. Wow.
And it is, buddy. Yeah,
Okay,
it's so
great.
fun, isn't it?
And they've got this at the home?
Yeah.
It's like bowling, but on the TV, but it feels like you're bowling in real life.
You can do
Yeah.
a little Wii Fit, step up on the on the platform. That's fun.
Ever wanted a machine to tell you you're obese?
Yeah.
Does it really?
Because
yeah,
you are.
yeah.
Everybody is.
Compared
your
to
little-
those, well, the characters on there don't have necks or arms. They've just got hands.
It like
They got little
it
balls
pops
for
out.
hands.
So like you set on the little Wii thing and it like has your little me, and then you put in your height and everything, then it weighs you, and if you are counted as obese, it gives you a little tummy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And it's based on BMI, which is definitely real and should be taken.
It takes all the important health factors into account.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
they
two
also
of
do
them.
phrenology
It's
or whatever
all